Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Only podcast. Sorry, I'm a bit late, uh, a minute late, I guess. But yeah, I'm here. Um, sorry, guys. So no one's here yet, so I guess I'll wait till people show up. So let me see if the audio is working or not. It should be working. And by the way, if you're watching, please leave a comment and I'll get to it, inshallah. Um, say hello in case you're here. No one's watching yet, so let's wait. Assalamu alaikum. Anyone watching? Leave a comment. Uh, by the way, let me play the intro first and then we can get started, inshallah. Actually, I have to change the intro, I think, because for some reason my intro is getting copyright striked and I don't know why that's happening. Intro and logo, okay. Yeah, extended intro 3, I think is this one. So let me pull up the intro real quick. Let me start the camera for a bit. So welcome everyone. Can you guys hear me? All right, here I am. So how are you guys? But oh yeah, let me play the intro first. I just uploaded it. This is my new intro, by the way. I think you guys saw it in my last video. So this is my new intro. Check it out. Ta-da! So that was my new intro. I had to change my last intro because my previous intro was getting copyrighted for some reason. I have no idea why. I actually thought of like disputing it, but the thing is that I felt like it's not worth my time, so I just left it as it is. So yeah, how are you guys doing? Leave a comment, by the way, in case you can hear the audio properly. Yeah. So today we're actually going to react to a debate slash discussion that happened between Mohammad Hijab and Piers Morgan and Alan Dershowitz. So, in case you guys don't know, Alan Dershowitz is basically a Harvard lawyer. He graduated from Harvard, I believe. Ivy League kind of like lawyer. He defended Jeffrey Epstein of all people, and he went on to debate Brother Mohammad Hijab to defend Israel and its attack against the Iranians and the Lebanon and Iran, right? Although they haven't struck Iran yet, they have kind of like started their invasion in Lebanon. So that's been going on. Oh, brother Andalon is here. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, bro. How are you? Nice to see you. By the way, let me know if the audio is working okay. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me properly? Let me know. So yeah, as I was saying. So yeah, I had a chance to watch the debate, and for me personally, I think it was it was hilarious for a number of reasons. Because Brother Hijab just basically just trolled trolled Alan Dershowitz throughout the debate. So it was just a really kind of like more like it was less of a debate, more like a meme, to be honest. Now a lot of people are criticizing Brother Hijab for his like performance and whatnot, But the thing is that what you need to understand regarding this kind of debate, and the thing is that you guys know me, like I don't pull punches when it comes to criticizing Muslims. I have criticized many brothers that I like and their work I like. I criticize brother Daniel, I criticize brother Hijab, but the criticism has to be fair and valid, right? In this instant, for example, when people are criticizing brother Hijab before because he was mean towards Alan Dershowitz, these people clearly don't know who Alan Dershowitz is. Okay, if you do like basic Google research on who Alan Dershowitz is, you will realize that this person is a very shady character. On top of it, he's defending deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent people, right? So these are not like good people or civilized people. And this is the thing about Zionists, right? Zionists like to pretend that they're like this kind of like civilized, kind of like, he's wearing the suit, he's this kind of like civilized guy, you can talk to him, he's an academic, but that's all false. Like it's just a veneer. It's a show, right? It's a theater. They're not civilized people. These people think that Arabs are like inferior race. Okay, that's what they think. Even if they don't directly think that, they indirectly support that, and they're indirectly supporting genocide. So my thing is that why would I, as a person, as a Muslim, I'm not Arab, but as a Muslim at least, why would I be nice to people like this? I don't understand. Now the thing is that I don't think Brother Hijab should have even went on to debate this guy, because frankly, it's just Piers Morgan's whole thing. Frankly, it's a waste of time. But since he is there, I think it's fair that he, mocks this guy for the ridiculous position he's defending, and that ridiculous position is the fact that he's defending genocide, he's defending apartheid, right? This is a ridiculous, because the entire world is against Israel at this point. Like even Israelis don't are not defending Israel. The ICJ has court case is very clear. Like there's a probable genocide. So at this moment, if you're going to say, "Oh, we're going to have a debate," right, with a guy who has like defended like sexual predators in the past, it's an insult. It's an insult to the Palestinians. It's an insult to basic common sense, you know. So for me, I frankly, if I was there, like I wouldn't have been as nice as Brother Hijab was. I was like, I would get physical with this kind of people, because you need to understand what they're doing. They're advocating for the deaths of our brothers and sisters. So like, I don't understand this kind of like fake civility. Now the thing is that I do agree that I don't think Brother Hijab should have just simply go on to debate these people. But at the same time, if since he's there, he might as well say the truth in front of their faces. That you are a horrible person, and yeah, because now regarding the debate part, I don't know if how much of it you guys watch. The whole thing was basically there were some valid points that were being made by Brother Hijab, and there were some counter arguments. But Alan Dershowitz is like very old guy. I don't think he's thinking properly. Now, did you guys watch the debate? Let me know what your thoughts on it are. Uh, Before we get started, oh yeah, yeah. Let me know if you guys. Oh, brother on the loan says, I think at one point Alan Dershowitz threatened to sue brother Mohammad Hijab. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. We're gonna get to that actually. I'm gonna start reacting. Uh, but before I react to it, I just need to address this whole ridiculous controversy. And the thing is that I don't understand some of these Muslim brothers, right? Yeah, like you're criticizing brother Hijab, right? For what? I mean, like the thing is that as a Muslim, because you need to understand the Sunnah of the Prophet, ﷺ, right? Like there's a hadith where some of the Jews would come to the Prophet ﷺ and they would say like, "Death be upon you," right? And you guys know this hadith, right? "Death be upon you," and the Prophet ﷺ would say, "Same to you," right? When these people are killing us, what should our response be in a country where we're not allowed to engage physically? Obviously, we're not going to be nice to them. Like, it doesn't make sense, especially people that do defend this horrible atrocity. Why would we be nice to them? Please, can like anyone who likes to criticize brother hijab, can you guys please explain to me why we should have to be nice to these people? Please, I'm all ears. I want to understand your point of view, right? Whether you're a Salafi or like, Deobandi, doesn't matter. Please explain to me why we have to be nice to people that are trying to kill us. There is no civility here. These are clear-cut our enemies. They want us dead. They want Palestinians gone. They want Muslim brothers and sisters gone. They want Islam gone from that land. Like, it's very clear. So yeah. Anyway, I'm getting a bit angry because this kind of like things like actually does piss me off. Because yes, there can be moments where you can legitimately criticize brother hijab, but this is not one of those moments because these people are horrible. These are awful people. Like, and I think brother hijab said it the best. Like, he is literally debating monsters. Like, these are not like normal people. Okay, these are criminals. Like, in a just world, these people will be behind a bar. Sorry, behind a prison. Oh, brother doctor is here. Salam, bro. Welcome to the stream. So I just got started actually. So actually, you know what? Let's get started. Let's not wasting time. Uh, so yeah, we're gonna react to Brother Hijab's quote-unquote debate with Alan Dershowitz. So let me just open up the tab. Okay, this is the one I think we're gonna watch. Insert. Uh, Brother on the Loon says, I think they criticize him because for most of the debate, he was not actually trying to argue about Palestine and Israel, but was mostly attacking Alan. But I do agree with what you're saying. Yeah, but the thing is that when a normie, like a, let's say you live in UK and you know nothing about this conflict, when you watch this debate and you see this kind of like suited booted guy, defending Israel, it might give you the impression that okay, this is a valid position, right? This is an academic guy, right? This is a civilized person that is defending Israel, so that must mean that the Israeli side must have some kind of merit, academic merit. So it is important that you actually attack and show who these people actually are, right? If they do have problematic takes in the past, because the thing is that it's a moral argument, right? And if these people actually have problematic moral positions, that needs to be exposed so that people can fairly make a judgment, right? Like, for example, if a murderer comes to me, right, and this is why I disagree, where people said, "Oh, this is ad hominem. This is not ad hominem. This is actually related to the debate." This is why sometimes when in court cases, you guys will often see that they often build a kind of like why the murderer or perpetrator has a pattern of conduct, right? Or like he's not the most moral person, or like if you have a witness, if you can show that that witness has a very shady past, there's good reason to believe that he might not be very reliable, right? Same thing here. Like, if you can show that this person have very problematic past and he has defended people who are clearly convicted criminals, then maybe you shouldn't trust what he's saying, and maybe you should not take your moral position from this guy. I think that is important to clarify. So I don't necessarily agree that Brother Hijab made a mistake by attacking his character. Now, and I think he also made it clear where someone was saying that he was doing ad hominem. This is not ad hominem. Like, for example, it's not fallacious for you to criticize someone's character, right? It is only fallacious when you say this because this person is a bad person, therefore his arguments are wrong. Then it becomes a fallacy because his character has nothing to do with his argument, right? But that's not what Brother Hijab did. Brother Hijab simply attacked his character, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a fallacy, you know. You can attack people's character. Like, for example, I think David Wood is a horrible person, right? And that is a separate argument than saying some rubbish argument that he may make against Islam, right? So these are two separate arguments. So simply criticizing them is not necessarily a fallacy. So, oh, brother Abu Stambudale says, familiar face, how are you? I'm well, alhamdulillah. How are you? Brother on the list, it's like debating a Nazi. Yeah, exactly. Like, and Zionism is a Nazi like fascist ideology. So you have to understand that, right? But anyway, so um, the show. And yeah, let me pull it up. There we go. Defending a monster. There we go. Hold on, let me change that. Yeah, there we go. I think that's better. Okay, let's put it up at speed. It's not that long, but I guess we could do like 1.7 or 1.5. What do you guys think? 1.7 or 1.5? I'm gonna go with 1.5. Okay. So, and the funny thing is that throughout the debate, actually, what we're gonna react to it. All right, let's get started, inshallah. And yeah, inshallah.
What I'd like this to be is a civilized debate between two people with very strong opinions about this. Wherever we see suffering, wherever
A civilized debate with people who are defending killing children. Okay. But anyway,
we see death and destruction, assault, sexual assault, we've seen Dershowitz to the rescue. The former stated aims in this war, that continues to add new ones. Destruction of Hamas.
so yeah, that was like the introduction. So let's get to the actual thing.
Well, 1 year on, Hamas is still firing rockets at Tel Aviv. 1 year on, 97 hostages remain in Hamas captivity. Very clearly, Israel's not fulfilled its stated aims in this war, and it continues to add new ones. It's now at war in Lebanon and on the precipice of a direct conflict with Iran. It has no plausible exit strategy in Gaza, where millions live in grief and under occupation, but it has, without question, decimated Iran's client militias. Hezbollah, the jewel in Iran's crown, has been decapitated. The question is whether that makes the Middle East and the world a safer or a more dangerous place. Can it really be said that Israel is winning this war? How big will this war get? And how much collateral damage and suffering can the world tolerate before enough is enough? This debate.
By the way, I love how like Piers Morgan is like really serious about this, and then the whole debate like goes completely off the rails in a few minutes, because like the position they're defending or steel manning is so ridiculous. But anyway, let's.
It will examine the legality, the morality, and the sustainability of the conflicts in the Middle East. Joining me are two of our most passionate advocates for their cause, the Muslim philosopher, scholar, and YouTuber, Mohammad Hijab, and the lawyer and author, Alan Dershowitz. Well, welcome to both of you. Mohammad, you've been on twice before, Alan many times. What I'd like this to be is a civilized debate between two people with very strong opinions about this.
Brother Solo says, to be fair, the USA has had about 11 incidents, including children in schools. Let's not pretend the West is honest. Yeah. Brother Akil. Oh, Brother Akil is here. Walaikum Salam, bro. How are you? I'm not gonna get that.
Okay. Obviously, very different opinions. Where we try and reach potentially some points of agreement, because so often with these debates, that seems almost impossible. Descends into a shouting match. Everyone gets ad hominem. Everyone digs ever deeper into their trench, their tribe, and we don't get anything.
Like agreement, like he wants agreement on what? Like agreement on genocide and ethnic cleansing, starvation. Oh, by the way, did you guys know that Israel is like now saying that they are going to completely shut off any food and water in Gaza? Yeah, that's a thing that's happening, but I will talk about it later on. Let's continue.
Constructive out of it. I think you guys are smart enough to potentially, through spirited and passionate debate, agree about some stuff, and that is surely the first basis for how any of this eventually gets resolved. So let's hope for the best. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best, as they say. Alan Dershowitz, let me start with you. Israel, it seems to me, in the last 3 weeks, have massively ramped up their military offensive in a way that says to me that Prime Minister Netanyahu and his cabinet...
By the way, to make some updates regarding what's happening in Lebanon, I think nearly 3,000 people have died. And so please make dua for our brothers and sisters in Lebanon, although we're not talking about it as much as Gaza. Please make your duas, because the situation there is also getting worse, and Israel and Lebanon has a very deep and troubling history, especially in regards to both Palestinians and just like Arabs in general. So please make dua for our Lebanese brothers and sisters, and if you can, like send some aid or help them out financially if you can, or make dua.
Sense an opportunity to completely, in their eyes, sort out the Middle East problem once and for all, with Iran at the center of that problem. Is that how?
Like, look at the language. Like, he's straight up using like Hitlerian language, like to solve the Middle East problem. You know, it just like Adolf Hitler had the final, had the solution for the final problem of the J problem, right? Like, he's using straight up like Nazi like language. Like, any sane person can see like this is so ridiculous. Anyone can see what they're talking about. It's like they're not even sugarcoating it. Like, even they have to admit like this is straight up like fascist language. Like, what solution of Middle East? Like, what solution are you talking about?
How you see this?
Yes, I do. I see Iran as the head of the octopus, sending out its tentacles through the Houthis, through Hamas, through Hezbollah. The tragedy, as we celebrate's a bad word, commemorate October 7th, is that if a Sinwar...
Yeah, this is a straw man of like, the Iranian position. Again, like, I don't like defending Iran because I don't necessarily support Iran in any way. But at least on this point, I'm going to try to steelman their position, because this is a clear-cut straw man. First of all, Iran did not attack Israel first. Israel attacked Iran first. Okay, they attacked their embassy. In case you forgot, let me show you guys this. In case some Zionist in the chat says that, oh, I'm lying. Iranian embassy bombed in Syria. Yeah, I think it happened in Syria, right? Yeah. Yeah, this happened in 1st April. Let me pull it up. So you guys can see. Here we go. Yeah. Iran says, oh, sorry. Videos are so annoying. Okay. Iran says Israel bombs its embassy in Syria, kills commander. So obviously, Iran basically in Syria, Iran bombed their embassy. And this is something Brother Hijab points out as well. Like, if you're going to a completely foreign country, bombing their buildings, right? Not just any building, an embassy. What do you think? What do you think that implies? That's a clear declaration of war, not just with Lebanon, but with Syria as well. Like, this is insane, right? This is insane. Like if I have to like explain all the like problem that this constitutes, all the international violation of law that this constitutes, like I wouldn't be able to explain to you. The fact that it took Iran this long to actually retaliate, it is what's actually surprising. This shows that Iran is actually not very much interested in defeating Israel, because they should have struck right after this happened. But they didn't. They waited for some reason. So, like, after this happens, and a lot of people, I don't know whether this is true or not, a lot of people suspect that supposedly some members of Iranian army, or Iranian kind of like agencies, I don't see whether this is true or not, are actually members of Mossad, or actually Mossad has very infiltrated inside the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Some say, I don't know whether that's actually true or false, but that would explain some of this behavior, because the thing is that, why did it take them so long to like retaliate? But anyway, the point is that obviously Israel attacked first. Like, when you bomb the embassy of another country, then that's a clear declaration of war, and he completely ignores this. But anyway, let's get back to the debate. So yeah, let's continue.
And Hamas had the opportunity to do it again, knowing everything that followed, knowing all the deaths and disasters.
Brother Andalon says that people criticize Mohammad Hijab for refusing to have a civilized debate, but let's be honest, from moral perspective. Yeah, like, the thing is that civilized debate with who? Like, with a criminal who think that it's okay to shoot children in the head? Like, there are children being shot. There's like hundreds of children that's been sent to the hospital who had like bullet wounds, and not just bullet wounds, they have sniper bullet wounds. So, which means the snipers are literally looking at the children and then shooting them. So you can't even use the excuse of like, oh, they're like collateral damage. You can't even use that excuse anymore. They're literally looking at them and at the scope and shooting them. So like, this is what they're defending.
In Gaza and in Lebanon, I think Hamas would do it again, would do October 7th again, because they think they've won. They've turned college and university students against Israel. They have solidified the United Nations opposition to Israel. They've divided Americans, particularly.
So he says that, oh, Hamas would do this. And this is an argument that a lot of Zionists makes, which is that this quote-unquote hypothetical argument that, oh, if Hamas has the chance, they will do it all over again, right? They will go and wipe out all these poor Israelis, etc., etc. And I find this argument very funny and ironic, because we know for a fact they won't do it. we know how we know? Because they haven't done it. Like, they have 200 hostages. Did they kill them? No. Like, as a matter of fact, most of the hostages that came out didn't say they were tortured or harmed or in any way, shape, or form. Also, please note that these atrocities that Israel is doing now, they've been doing it for like the past couple of years. They didn't start this on after October 7th. They've been doing this constantly. They've been destroying Palestinian homes. Like, this has been routine for them. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys how many homes they're destroyed, so you guys get an idea. How many Palestinian homes have been demolished? Here we go. Let me give you an estimate of like just one place. It's the article on Al Jazeera. This is in East Jerusalem, by the way. Here we go. With all eyes on Gaza, Israel steps up demolition of Palestinian homes. Please note, there's no Hamas there in West Bank. Sorry, okay, here we go. During the first 9 months of 2023, Israel demolished a total of 97 Palestinian homes, but 87 have been bulldozed in East Jerusalem since Hamas' deadly attack on Israeli community. So they've been doing it since 2023, and even longer than that, obviously. So let me bookmark that. So it'll come in handy. And if you just Google it, like for example, all this in Wikipedia, it says Israeli Committee Against House Demolition estimated that Israel have razed 55,000 Palestinian structures as of 2022. Now, let me see what the source is for this, because if you're like trying to do research, it's always important that you look for sources. Oh, here we go. So yeah, this is this is from Israeli House Committee. Okay, so the in the first several months, Israel demolished over 2,000 Palestinian homes since the West Bank. So that's what they're doing. But let me go to tools. Anytime past year. Hold on. Custom range. 2023. Let's go to 2023. Let's see how many homes they actually destroyed. Yeah, from 2023 before October, September 30. Yeah, go. There we go. This is a number from 2022. West Bank demolition and displacement, December 2022. This is from OCHA, UN. In 2022, 953 Palestinian structures were demolished or seized across the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, the highest number since 2016, with 1,000 people being displaced as a result. The 1,000 threshold was crossed for the third year in a row. However, there are 50% few people displaced than in 2021. So they're displacing thousands and thousands of people, you know. And so this has nothing to do with this has nothing to do with, you know, them. This has nothing to do with Hamas. Like, they've been displacing Palestinians long before October 7th. And so this is clear. Oh, brother, Kufar and Dragons is here. Don't forget, Alan did make personal attacks to Norman Finkelstein. Here he cries out hijab making ad hominems. Yeah, exactly. Brother Solly response says, Assalamu alaikum, walaikum assalam, bro. How are you? So yeah, what he's saying is bullshit. I actually kind of forgot what he was even talking about last night.
Because they think they've won. They've turned college and university students against Israel. They have
Hamas, right? So their argument is, oh, Hamas is going to do it over and over again, right? But then again, Israel has been doing this long before October 7th. So it's not Hamas doing it. You guys are the one who's doing it. Because you're doing it, they're reacting to it. And then they're framing it as, oh, it's because Hamas will do it over and over again. Then why were you doing it before October 7th? Right? like these excuses are so bad. Like
have solidified the United Nations opposition to Israel. They've divided Americans, particularly the Republican administrations in the past, from the current Democratic administration. So Hamas cannot be allowed to have a victory growing out of October 7th any more than ISIS should have been allowed to.
Yeah, Hamas should not be allowed to defend their own people. Hamas should allow us to commit genocide. Why is Hamas so rude? like the logic in these people's little brains, it baffles me.
To have a victory.
Like the thing is that what do you expect Hamas to do in this situation? What do you expect any group to do if you demolish their homes, if you kick out their people, if you bomb them constantly, if you starve them, and then you act like you're the victim?
Going out of 9/11. So I think the answer is yes, a military defeat for Iran and its surrogates, and a peace process between Israel.
Oh yeah, ISIS Hamas. Oh yeah, he then compares Hamas with ISIS, right? This is so stupid. Every time anyone compares ISIS with Hamas, I just cringe. I genuinely cringe. Because the thing is that if you have even if you have one brain cell, you will realize that Hamas is not a globalist organization in any way, shape, or form. They're not a Khariji groups, right? Their goal is to liberate their people. As a matter of fact, you could even argue that that's not necessarily an Islamic goal, right? For example, ISIS, for example, has a very Kharijite-based goal, right? It's not an Islamic goal; it's a Kharijite-based goal, right? Because they're Kharijis. They want to declare anyone as non-Muslims and kill anyone so that they can establish their empire, right? That they call quote-unquote Islamic empire. And so comparing the two is so ridiculous. ISIS was not put into concentration camp. Their homes were not destroyed. They were not bombed. They're not starved. I mean, to be fair, maybe it's very much possible that some ISIS member may have been, but that's not the reason why they were fighting. The reason why, as Sheikh Mohammed Yassin said, who's the founder of Hamas, their idea for fighting is that it's because of occupation. So you stop the occupation, they stop fighting, right? So so comparing a resistance group with ISIS and whatnot is just ridiculous. The thing is that there's no evidence that they have any kind of globalist, mission in any way, shape, or form. And there's no evidence that they want some kind of eradication of all Jewish people, which is also false. But regardless, it's just a very stupid comparison.
And Saudi Arabia, with steps taken toward the recognition of a two-state solution, which is the only reasonable solution that will solve the problem. But remember that October 7th was stimulated by the desire to prevent Israel.
I swear, every time this guy says October 7, I'm gonna pull out one of my hairs, okay, one of my white hairs. Did you hear how many times he said October 7? I'm gonna count from now on. Every time he says October 7, I'm gonna pause it.
Israel and Saudi Arabia from creating a peace process following up from the Abraham Accords. And unless that peace process continues, and unless Hamas is told, no, you failed, the world will not reward you for this, we're just going to see a continuation of the bloodshed in the Middle East, which does not serve the interests of the Palestinians nor the Israeli people.
Okay, Mohammad Hijab, your response to that?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that wherever we see suffering, wherever we see death and destruction, especially of young people, assault, sexual assault, we see Dershowitz to the rescue, the former defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, a man himself accused
I
of
knew
rape.
we would get to that. I knew.
Immediately, he takes the whole thing and shoves it in his face. He gets so triggered. He's like, no, wait. Where are you going with this? Don't expose me. Live TV.
I give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I stayed quiet when you were talking. I stayed quiet when you were talking.
Hang on. Here's what I would say.
I didn't give you permission.
That's another thing, by the way. Please note, he's the one who interjected him. Like the thing is that your opponent can say whatever he wants, right? Your job is to simply point out like his logical inconsistency or logical problems, right? If he's insulting you and whatnot, you can address that, but in your own time. Like, why would you like interject him while he's talking? That's not necessary, right? Brother Andalun says, what's funny is that ISIS more terrorists on Iran. Who is Iran's ally? Lol. Yeah. But yeah, so as I was saying, so here you have a situation where Dershowitz clearly interjected hijab first, but Piers didn't say anything when that happened. But when hijab kind of like counters that, all of a sudden he tries to stop on attack hijab instead of attacking Dershowitz, which I find funny.
Mohammed, attacking a lawyer
Yes.
for defending people is a stupid argument.
Well,
right?
I'm not making an argument yet.
Wait, but you're just
He says that attacking a people for like attacking a lawyer for defending people is a stupid argument. No, it's not, because you as a lawyer has the choice to defend anybody, right? You could defend anybody. If you choose to defend like Netanyahu or this kind of war criminals and thugs, that's a choice. Like that's a choice. That's a choice you made. So if you made a choice that is clearly immoral, we can criticize you based on that. So that's not like, there's nothing illogical about that. We have another round of condemnation going on. Do you condemn hummus? Do you condemn Israel for like, for their terrorist attack on like September 5th or something, when they attacked Iran? Sorry, not Iran, Lebanon.
using that.
I'm not making an
I'm going to
argument.
attack straight off the top.
Has he got leverage on you? Is that
No,
what
he's
you're-
a
I saw
brilliant
your
lawyer.
picture with Maxwell. He's got leverage on you.
He's a brilliant lawyer.
You're saying that because he's got leverage on you.
Wait, hold on. Who is Maxwell? Oh, hold on. Let me go back.
Has he got leverage on you? Is that
No,
what
he's
you're-
a
I saw
brilliant
your
lawyer.
picture with Maxwell. He's got leverage on you.
He's a
Maxwell. Who's Maxwell? Do you guys know who Maxwell is?
brilliant lawyer.
You're saying that because he's got leverage
I
on you.
met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch.
You look very happy with her.
Well, I didn't know anything about her at the
You're
time.
very
I
happy
thought she
with
was the
her.
daughter of the man.
We're talking about the biggest sexual scandal in the last
who
100
I never met
years.
Jeffrey Epstein or ever knew him. Alan Dershowitz was wrongly accused of various things in relation to Jeffrey
How do you know
Epstein.
it's wrongly?
Because they've all
Why are
been
you defending him?
They all turned out to be nonsense.
Has
He won a
it-
court case about
By the way, actually, you know what? Let me show you guys something. So, Alan Dershowitz was accused of a lot of things. For example, first of all, he defended Jeffrey Epstein, who was like a known sex offender. And then one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein actually accused Alan Dershowitz of, assault her. And then magically she just drops the case. For example, let me show you guys this. Actually, you know what? This is going to be brought up later on, so maybe I'll show you later. But, so yeah, this guy has a very shady past. And so, let's go.
Are you looking at me when I'm speaking to you?
Well, I can turn to you, but
Yeah.
there were three of us involved in this.
Yeah, you're speaking to me. So
Okay, let me make things clear. I never met Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you look very happy in that picture.
Okay, if you
So yeah, I saw some people like criticizing Brother Hijab for pointing out that he's not looking at him while he's talking to him, which is, by the way, it's very rude. Like the thing is that if you have a guest, and then you should at least look at your guest, right? If you're having discussion or any kind of like commentary or whatever, if you're talking about someone, you should look at that person, right? It's common, like kind of like common sense. So I don't think Brother Hijab did anything wrong for pointing that out, because if you're like on a live show, the host should engage with the guest, right? Brother Adam he says, I'm from Iraq and I stand with Israel. Well, good for you. Well, if you stand with Israel, then I don't know what to. Oh, what happened? So we have a weirdo here. Why do you support Hamas? I don't support Hamas. Like, why do you support Israel? I support Hamas when they're defending Palestinians. And then he's calling me an idiot. First of all, like, clearly you're not an Iraqi, because Israel always get attacked. But anyway. So, okay. So why do you support Israel? Exactly. Like, can you give me a logical reason why an Iraqi would support Israel? What's the logic there? Please give me the logic. Like, how would supporting Israel helps Iraq? Israel is the only safe haven for Jews. No, it's not. Do you know how I know? Right now, countless Israelis are actually leaving Israel because they're not safe. They don't feel safe there. Like, when you constantly bombing other countries, it's not safe. Let me show you how many people are actually leaving. Leaving. Oh, sorry. Here you go. Here, let me share this. Here, the Great Immigration. This is from Jerusalem Post. Great immigration. Israel sees an unprecedented number of people leaving the country. Israel faces record immigration. Israel faces record immigration with 40,000 leaving this year, number the country has never seen before. Gee, if Israel is so safe for Jews, why are they leaving? Why are they leaving? I wonder why they're leaving. It's so safe. So why they're leaving? The thing is that, like, this is how much Israel cares about Jews. 0%. 0%. So if you're a Jew and you support Israel, Israel is not going to benefit you in any shape or form. They're leaving because of no, they're leaving because your country is starting a genocide and is starting endless wars that it can clearly not win. But clearly you're an IDF troll, so I'm gonna ban you because frankly it's a waste of my time. Wait, was that Adam? I don't think that person is a Muslim, but whatever. I think mostly it's a IDF bot account. So IDF is attacking like IDF troll army. They're attacking the stream already, which is great. That's exactly what I want. All right, let's continue.
You want to use that as an ad hominem
No, but
attack?
why are you defending him?
Hang on. A
Why are you
picture taken in
defending
2013.
He spoke for 3 minutes. I spoke for 20 seconds.
I'm defending him because your first attack on him is to attack him as a lawyer because he defends bad people.
That's fine.
Here's a little secret for you, Mohammed.
I also
We have another one. Getting banned. Brother Ronaldo says, Adam, you are really a Muslim. You are enemy your brothers and sisters also. You're definitely not a Muslim. I don't know who is this Adam guy, but anyway, let's continue.
All lawyers do that.
I've also
No, but hold on, we're not talking about bad people. We're talking about
defended Bill Clinton.
You've had
I've
enough
also
speaking.
defended
You've had enough
many
speaking. I'm talking about a person who, after the fact, said that he was proud to defend him after the allegations.
Yeah, so let's take a look at like what Dershowitz actually stands for, because the allegation against him are actually kind of crazy. So let's go to this one. There's this article regarding Alan Dershowitz. We're not spend too much time on it. So this is in Harvard Crimson. It says Epstein victim drops claims against Alan Dershowitz. So what was the claim? A victim of Jeffrey Epstein, who claimed she was sexually abused by Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, settled on Tuesday a lawsuit she had filed against him, saying she may have made a mistake in accusing a prominent lawyer of wrongdoing. Now, please note, these people are actually very powerful, right? So, for example, when someone brings an accusation, oftentimes the victims are threatened and bullied to like drop the case, right? So the fact that she just all of a sudden dropped the case, it shows there's something very suspicious is going on here. So that's one thing. So yeah, he was actually accused of sexual assault by one woman. And then you have this idiot here. There's never a such thing as Palestine. Google the word British Mandate Palestine. Okay, this is a territory of the Ottoman Empire that the British took control of. It was literally called Palestine. But that's why people are saying liberating Palestine. It existed in the 1920s. So this is false. I tell you what, let me show you guys the map. Let me show you guys the map. Here we go. Let me pull it up. Yeah, here we go. Let me show you the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration and the Mandate for Palestine, 1917, 1922. So yeah, you see that? British Mandate for Palestine. See, this whole area was mostly reserved for Arabs by the British. It's known as the British Mandate of Palestine. This is technically the area belonged to the British, but they did allow Arabs to rule there. But this area was called the British Mandate of Palestine. So anyone who says, "Oh, Palestine didn't exist before 1967," look up your history. Okay, just Google it. This is basic common sense. Like the reason, the reason why people are calling for Palestine, even the word, is because it already existed. This is not something new that they came up with. Like for example, just Google. Let me show you this the Wikipedia article because I cannot do like in-depth research on it, but I'm just gonna debunk this troll right here. Here, just take a look at this. Take a look at this because the thing is, that it's so easy to debunk this. Here, mandatory Palestine was a geopolitical entity that existed between 1920 and 1948 in the region of Palestine under the name of League of Nations Mandate for Palestine. 1920s. This is like 20 years before Israel was a thing. So yeah, there was a British Mandate of Palestine. So if you're gonna be an idiot and just troll here again, I'm gonna say this for the last time. I'm gonna ban you. So regardless, let's continue. So stupid. Anyway, let's continue.
Come on. You still want to? Do you condemn Dershowitz
For what?
for defending
No, I
Epstein?
have defended-
I wasn't done with this guy. Hold on. There's more article I wanted to show. Where was this? So there's actually more accusation against him. So let's take a look at this article. So this is in Vox, which is a news article regarding. I think this happened in like a long time ago. Alan Dershowitz helped sex offender Jeffrey Epstein get a plea deal. Now he's tweeting about age of consent laws. I'm going to continue to speak out until the day I die. This is what this is what he says. This is what he says about Jeffrey Epstein and like sex offenders. Hold on, let me find this quote. So, but Dershowitz sees himself as the wrong party victimized by women. So yeah, so when Jeffrey Epstein was found in 2005 that he was being investigated by police for sexual abusing of underage girls, he called Alan Dershowitz, a Harvard Law School professor, defense lawyer. Dershowitz helped negotiate a non-persecution agreement under which Epstein served 30 months in county jail. So basically, he helped a RAPIST. Okay, he literally helped an RAPIST. RAPIST. Yeah. Alan Dershowitz got famous by defending wealthy, high-profile clients. He helped Jeffrey Epstein get cushy non-persecution agreement. So he literally helped this guy. One of Epstein's accusers says Dershowitz abused her too. Dershowitz has written that he hesitated to defend Epstein because he was an acquaintance, Bruce writes. He told the New York Reporter that Epstein had misinterpreted the allegations against him, misrepresented the allegation against him, telling Dershowitz that there were only half a dozen accusers who were under the age and that they slipped through the cracks. They presented fake IDs. So this is literally what he does. He blames the victim. He blames the victim. That's literally his job. Okay, we have another moron in the comment. I'm going to ban this idiot. But anyway, so yeah, that's what he does. Like this idiot, this guy is absolutely evil. So you have these victims who have come out, and he's saying that, oh, they were lying. They've lied about their ID and whatnot. And you have all this other kind of like Dershowitz treatment of RAP cases caused some former students concern. Even today, Dershowitz continued to defend his most controversial stances. In 1997, Dershowitz argued against statutory IPE laws, saying the age of consent should be 15. The most criminal sanction against very young children should be doubtful. So yeah, he alluded that if it's right. So yeah, he has this. This is a very shady guy. Is the point. He defended Epstein. And not only defend Epstein, he always attacks the victim. And that's what he does. And that's exactly what he's doing now. We have another troll. Oh my God, this is amazing. the idea of trolls are spamming the chat. This is amazing. Thanks for the views. Anyway, let's continue.
I'm being proud of defending Epstein.
some of the
It's
best,
not for me to
I have
defend
defended some of the best people in the world.
Alan, you
I
defend
helped
yourself.
No, why should he defend himself? I
Nelson
haven't even
Mandela.
spoken for 20 seconds.
Alan can defend himself.
But let me speak for more
I
than 20
helped to
seconds. I
defend
haven't even made
Nelson
my point yet.
Mandela. I helped to defend
So
Bill
2-on-1 now, is
Clinton.
it?
I've helped to defend some of the finest people in the
Yeah,
world,
well,
and I've also helped
John
to defend
Lennon
some of the worst.
defended
I
him.
never
Terrible crime.
justified.
Some of the finest people. Like Epstein, huh?
He was not proud
I've never
of defending Van
justified
Lennon the same way as he
anything
announced that he was
any of my
proud of
clients have
defending
I am
Epstein.
What's this got
proud
to
of
do
my
with
role
Israel?
as a
This has got
defense
to do with
lawyer,
the fact that this
just
man,
like-
the credibility
just like
of this man's
John
on the line.
Adams was
He defends
proud to
Israel on the one
defend
hand,
the
and on the
people.
other hand, he defends Epstein. I think the public should know this.
Do you want me to play?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point, right? Because the thing is that sometimes people, when people are watching this, they may think, oh, this is an academic, right? This is a lawyer, and he's presenting a fair case for Israel, right? But if you know that this guy has a habit of attacking victims and defending predators, then it logically follows he's going to do that same thing when it comes to Israel-Palestine, where the Palestinians are actually victims and the Israelis are the predator, right? So this is this is a clear common pattern, and he's establishing this, showing that it's not uncommon for him to do this. And so, if you're going to take any kind of moral advice from this person, you probably shouldn't, because he is morally bankrupt. He's morally bankrupt. Like, for example, if a murderer comes to me and tells me, "Hey, you know what? You should not murder," I'm not going to listen to that guy. Actually, you shouldn't murder anyway. But the point is that if a murderer comes to me and says that, actually that was a bad example. If a murderer comes to me and says to me, you shouldn't drink alcohol, I'm not going to listen to that guy, right? Because the thing is that if a person cannot be morally consistent and see that he's actually defending something evil, like, I'm not going to, like, you shouldn't take moral advice from, like, evil people is the point, right? Brother Akil says W hijab. Yeah, exactly. So I have no reason to support them as a Saudi. Okay, so it seems like we have someone who's from Saudi, Brother Ahmed. He's saying that Palestinians insult you 24/7. First of all, Palestinians don't insult, like, they don't have the time to insult anybody. Okay, they're being genocided against. They're running from bombs, so they don't have the time to insult anybody. So that's point number one. Point number two is that even if they did insult, like, Saudi or any of that, what does that has to do with Islam, right? Under Islamic law, you're obligated to defend your brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter, like, even if they don't like you necessarily, they have rights upon you. Same way you have rights upon them. Just like they shouldn't insult you and you shouldn't insult them, right? That's how it goes. And third point is that do you think that they're being completely unreasonable when they're being bombed and, like, starved, and many of the leaders, Muslim leaders, have chose to not defend them? Of course they're going to be frustrated, they're going to be angry, just like you would be angry if this happened to you, right? So please try to understand things from a geopolitical perspective, and not just say that, oh, they're insulting me, so they're wrong. No, look at why they're doing that, and try to explain to them, look, we're on your side, and you shouldn't do that, right? Brother Doctor says, I'm from London, but I am now in Kuwait. Nice, Salam. All right, let's continue.
Do you want me to play the clips?
proud of
Mohammed,
it.
do you want me to play the clips of
And I
you
don't
do
know.
the rounds on social media saying some very
No
inflammatory
problem.
things? Do you want me to?
Why are you not looking at me?
Because I'm looking
Why
at
are
the
you
three
not
of us.
looking at me? I'm right
I can
here.
turn to you, and the viewers see me and you
Look at me, man to man.
Fine,
Look
I'll
at me,
turn
man
to
to man.
you.
Look at my eyes.
It's called
I'm
an aesthetic
speaking
thing
to
for videos.
Okay, now the first thing I wanted to say was that this man's credibility is something which is shocking. That is we're even
So what do you
entertaining.
base it on?
on the fact that he actually defended Epstein, and after the fact, he said he was proud of it. He was in Epstein's vicinity.
So yeah, basically, he's attacking his credibility, and the reason is you shouldn't take these people seriously is because these are very shady people. So you shouldn't take like moral advice from this kind of like people. We have Brother Ahmed. He says, "I'm Saudi, and I will always stand with my Palestinian brothers and sisters." Alhamdulillah. This is what we want. We want Muslims to be united. Whether you're in Saudi or you're in the Gulf countries, we shouldn't have hostilities when it comes to our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And we should always stand together and help each other. As a matter of fact, this should be the policy of all Muslim countries. We should help each other because, trust me, the enemies are not going to help us. Like whether you're in, like for example, I'm in Bangladesh, right? I think Pakistani brothers and Bangladeshi brothers should help each other against in countries like Hindutva countries like India when they're being aggressive towards Muslims. In India and other places, we should stand against like this Hindutva fascist. The same way, if you're an Arab or if you're a Muslim, you should always defend Palestinians because they're your brothers. So, inshallah, as brother says, inshallah, Palestine will be free. Inshallah. So let's continue.
He was in Epstein's vicinity. He had a massage in his vicinity. This is the kind of person that we're having on the show defending Israel. That's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is, in the first interaction that me and you were talking about October the 7th, we spent about 3 or 4 minutes actually talking about sexual assault allegations, if you remember that. And actually here, what we have is Israeli soldiers like Mir from Unit 100, and that's on The Guardian, it's on Sky News, it's on all these kinds of platforms, coming out, and there's videographic evidence of him raping another man. I haven't heard condemnation from you, and I don't expect to hear it from him who defended Epstein. But this is the...
So yeah, this is another interesting thing he did, right? Throughout the his notice he set up his character like he has a habit of like defending like horrible people. And so when you have situations where Israelis soldiers are also doing these horrible crimes like sexual assault and whatnot, of course he's going to defend that, right? Or you're going to have people who are of that mindset to defend that. Brother Mustafa said, should we accept a two-state solution if Israel agrees? It depends if Israel does agree. Because the thing is that there has been a two-state solution, so-called two-state solution. That's not a two-state solution, right? So the thing is that I think the Muslim countries need to negotiate, powerful Muslim countries need to negotiate together with the Palestinian leadership to have a valuable like solution. Like first of all, the occupation needs to end. And the prisoners that are there needs to be released. These are the two terms. I think these are the terms that even Hamas has like put forward, which is that first the prisoners that are there, like the 3,000 innocent people that have been trapped, they have to be released. So the hostages can be released, and they have to leave the border. They have to leave the West Bank and Gaza area. They also need to stop the blockade that they have, the 5-way blockade. They need to end that, and then that's the end. Like Palestinians are not asking for too much, but the fact that they refuse to give them even an inch, it shows how evil these people are. So, yeah, let's continue.
This shows you the bias in the coverage for a year. Well, we know the ICJ have said that there's a plausible genocide.
You haven't been watching my show.
Actually, you know what? Let me pull up the sexual abuse. Palestinian prisoners ruling RIPE. So yeah, I think Brother Hijab is referring to this incident. Let me share this. This was on Al Jazeera. Everything is legitimate. Israeli leaders defend soldiers accused of RIPE. Okay, so they're literally defending this. Israeli society is divided over the arrest of 10 soldiers for the brutal gang RIPE of a Palestinian prisoner caught on video. This is what they're talking about. What he's talking about. Video has emerged of a gang RIPE of a Palestinian prisoner by guard at the Sde Taymin detention facility in the Negev Desert, southern Israel. The video, which has been verified by Al Jazeera, shows the prisoner being selected from a larger group lying bound on the floor. The victim is then escorted to a wall where the guards, using their shield to hide their identity from the camera proceed to RAP him. So this is sodomy. This is literally sodomy. They're sodomizing the Palestinians, the male Palestinian prisoners. This is disgusting. Like, I didn't even realize that this is sodomy. Like, what the hell, man? That's disgusting. How do people defend Israel at this point? Like, this is baffling to me. I didn't even realize this was sodomy. Oh my God, Subhanallah, man. So this is what Brother Hijab is referring to. Oh my God, brother, Mr. Sobgan district. Yeah, I should get on with this. I'm sorry, but yeah, as I was saying, so this disgusting event took place, and this is actually on video camera, where basically a male prisoner, not prisoner, someone who was basically kidnapped because they don't charge. They put Palestinians in prison without any charge, by the way. So you have this kidnapped person, and then RIPing this kidnapped person. It's disgusting. And then we have these curry fans. Again, like, if you're gonna say these kind of things regarding victims of abuse, then I'm gonna ban you. I'm sorry. This is clear hate speech. Like, even this violates like YouTube's terms, by the way. So I'm gonna ban you. But anyway, the point is that this is disgusting. Like, and you have like IDF trolls in the chat like defending this. Like, where have your morality gone, man? What happened to your country? Like, is this a civilized country? Is this the kind of country you want to live in? Where you're literally defending like sodomy? Isn't this against your religion? Isn't this against Judaism? Like, what the hell? But anyway, let's continue.
I think I have.
No, you haven't.
Have you spoken
You're
about me?
talking complete bullshit.
Okay, tell me why.
Right?
Tell me why.
Because A, I did condemn what you've just talked
Yeah,
about
yeah,
in a previous debate.
Good.
Right?
Dershowitz, you condemn it.
Yes, of course. I condemn any rape of anybody and any assault on anybody who's in captivity.
And
Of
you
course I
also
do.
condemn.
And
Well, to be fair to Dershowitz, at least this is where his American side is coming out a little bit, because he has to maintain at least some level of civility, where he actually does condemn it, which is good, right? Because at least on this point, he said, okay, this was wrong, right? Even like Zionists cannot defend this, right? So the thing is that at least he like said that, okay, this was wrong. But the point is that he clearly has a habit of like, but the thing is that he only defended it when Brother Hijab pointed it out. Like, he didn't do it before. And then he was saying that, oh, Hamas did this and that, and etc. etc. But IDF is doing all this, and this is going under the radar. Anyway, let's continue.
I
The
don't
right of
defend-
rape,
I don't
the right of rape
defend-
protests that took place in Israel. And you acknowledge that there's a
if any
problem in Israel
rapes
with
took
this.
place, they will be investigated. They will be fully investigated. They will be
Do you acknowledge
court-martialed.
there's a problem in
and if any-
Israel?
No, this never happens, especially when it comes to Palestinian prisoners. They basically get no like the thing is that when people like this claim that there's going to be investigation, quote unquote investigation, it's a joke. No, a criminal is never going to investigate themselves. That's not how it works. Like, if I have a murder, if I murder someone and someone tells me, can you find out who killed this kid, killed this person? I'm not going to investigate myself. I'm going to point finger at other places. Okay? So there's not going to be any investigation. Brother Fighting Ignorance says, are you Pakistani? No, I'm from Bangladesh. But regardless, it's good.
Anybody is convicted of that, they deserve their
Do you
punishment. I
acknowledge
don't
that there's a
defend
problem
What about the
rape.
problem with Hamas
Sure.
raping women?
I have no
on
compunction.
October the 7th?
I have no compunction condemning Hamas for anything that they've done. You've said that. You've asked me before, and I've told you before. I have no moral scruple. Neither do the majority of the Muslim world. I tell you now, anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned in the first instance. But we're not seeing the same level of coverage with Hamas as we are seeing with these people that are shoving rods.
By the way, regarding what he said, why didn't you condemn Hamas? Why didn't you condemn Hamas? Like, how is that even relevant? This is such a red herring fallacy. So in case you guys don't know, red herring fallacy is a logical fallacy where you use an argument as a distraction to derail the topic. Yeah, this is the one. I'm here to distract you, red herring. So this is a clear case of red herring. The topic was about whether or not Israel is justified in its war, and we can clearly see that they're constantly committing war crimes and violations against human rights, Islamic rights, right? If they continue to do these things, clearly they're not justified. You cannot say that they're justified. Because if this continues to happen, we have to stop it. We have to stop the war. You have to ask for a ceasefire. That's the whole point. But you're not doing that. Oh, we have another IDF troll in the comments. Where are you guys coming from? Like, so no, that's good.
Of people's ass and raping people on videographic evidence. And you have 3,000 people, we talk about the hostages, you've got 3,000 people in essentially captivity, according to Human Rights Watch and Salam, who are prisoners of war of Israel. And we're spending a fraction of the time speaking about them as compared to speaking about the hostages. This shows you the inherent bias.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison between innocent hostages who did nothing wrong and people who are being charged with criminal offenses.
They're not charged with
Brother on the line says, Israel actually has a team of paid keyboard warriors who put out pro-Zionist propaganda on the internet. Channel called GDF made a video about it. Yeah, I know about it. I think a lot of countries do. It's not just Israel. Actually, India has it too. India also has like this kind of like keyboard warriors or like, Hindutva kind of like trolls, bot accounts, which basically anytime you make any kind of like, if you criticize Hinduism or like if you criticize the BJP, they will go to that account and they will spam it constantly. And Israel has the same thing. So this is like kind of like they're like kind of like keyboard warriors, keyboard warrior IDF version, right? So they go there and they spam it. And sometimes I think I've noticed I triggered them sometimes, and you'll see this same account come back on the comment section over and over again. I find it interesting. And this also happened with some of my Hindu videos. My videos criticize the Hinduism as well, or Hindutva as well. Sometimes you have same kind of like similar accounts with different names constantly popping up, constantly spamming the comment section. And I think you'll see sometimes in debates between Muslims and Christians too, like where sometimes you have Christian apologists using these bot accounts to spam in the comments. So don't let that fool you. That's basically like a bot. That's just they're using. These are not actual people, But anyway. There are many Hindu Zionists. There is another one here. Yeah, let me just ignore them for now.
criminal offenses. That's why you're meant to know better. You're meant to know
But
better
they are
than that.
charged
They're
with
not charged
security
with criminal
offenses.
offenses.
But you
They're not charged with criminal
can't
offenses.
compare.
They are
you can't
arrested
compare
without charge.
You can't
They are
compare
arrested
three.
Yeah, human rights is anti-Semitic. Human rights is anti-Semitic, guys. Oh my God.
They're not
baby.
charged with criminal
Don't
offenses.
shout
You
over
can't-
each other. We can't hear the answer.
He's
You
lying to the
can't
public.
compare a
Allow him to
3-year-old
respond.
baby
Go
to
ahead.
somebody who's a member of Hamas.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
Adam, we couldn't hear because he was shouting.
I was shouting. Say it
Alan,
again.
he says the
I'm saying
3,000.
you can't compare
Alan,
a
he says the
3-year-old
3,000.
baby.
Alan, just to be clear, he said the 3,000 people he's talking about were all arrested without charge, and therefore they've not been charged with crimes. Your response to that?
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for
boy.
security
So
reason
pathetic.
I will
during
say
the
what I
war,
want. It's uncensored. Good boy.
Anyway, so so basically Dershowitz is basically claiming that these people are criminals and whatnot, and then Hijab points out that no, they're not charged with anything. They're being arrested without a trial, which is which basically they're doing the same thing that they accuse Hamas of. They're kidnapping people, right? They're kidnapping people without a trial. Like if you actually care about human rights, you would do a public trial, but there's no trial. I mean, in many cases, these people have been locked up without any trial whatsoever. this IDF account is like saying anti-Semitic. Yeah, justice system is anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic justice system. Oh my God.
Let me
Oh,
finish, please.
pathetic.
Let me make my
boy.
point.
Trying to have a
Can I
proper
make my
debate.
point,
I'll say
please?
what I like.
Can I make my point? Let me make my point. Great Britain confined tens of thousands of people without charges during the Second World War.
Two wrongs
The
don't
United
make a
States
right.
did the same.
Two wrongs don't
I
make a
was
right. Let's talk about
strongly
Hitler then.
opposed.
Let's talk about
Please
Hitler
let
then.
me make my point. I'm opposed to that. I wrote an article against
Good boy.
administrative detention. But you
Good.
can't compare that, no
Good.
matter how
Can you
bad
stop
it
this,
is.
Mohammed? It's
You
very
can't
very
compare
tedious
it
already.
to 3-year-olds being
Debate it.
kidnapped, to people
listening to
being
his
raped and murdered. You can't compare what happened on October 7th to what Israel has done
Yes, you
in
can't.
terms
because On
of
the one
security
hand,
prisoners.
you've got
There's
30,000
no
people and then
comparison
you've
at
got
all.
100.
And stop
That's-
Yeah, exactly. And this is a good point, although it's happening in a very rhetorical, heated way, which is that just look at the numbers, right? On one hand, you have only 200 people that's been taken in response to 3,000 people being taken, right? According to most estimates, 3,000 to 4,000 people, Palestinian, are taken as in Israeli prisons without any trial. This is kidnapping. I'm sorry, this is kidnapping. So they've kidnapped all these people. In response, Hamas did the same. And now they're blaming, Hamas, evil Hamas, they're doing all this, they're kidnapping people. But you've been kidnapping people for years. So then what's wrong with when Hamas does it, right? But anyway, I'm gonna ban this. You stink. Okay, if you're gonna troll here, I'm gonna ban you. If you have nothing constructive to say, because the thing is that, look, if you're an Israeli and you're watching from Israel, I don't have a problem with engaging with you, but you have to be respectful. If you're gonna spam in the comments, just insult me, call me anti-Semite, that's not helpful. That's not productive. If you have something constructive to say against me or against my arguments, please feel free to do so. But if you're not gonna do that, I'm gonna ban you. Sorry.
30
Interrupting me,
times
please.
more. That's 30 times more. If you want us to take you seriously, if you want us to take this coverage seriously, if you want us to take Western media seriously, then let's, for God's sake, talk about proportionality as your favorite word. We're talking about 30,000 people detained in prisons on the one hand, and 100 people who are hostages. And yet we have managed somehow to spend way more time.
You said 3,000 a minute ago. Which one is it? 3,000?
Sorry, 3,000. 3,000.
It's not 30,000.
Not 30. 3,000.
Get your numbers right if you're going to make that claim.
Okay, I misspoke. Not a problem. That's not a problem. He spoke about Iran. Let me ask you a question.
Let me ask the question.
Sure, go
and
ahead.
you guys try and
Go
debate
ahead.
it.
Go
At the
ahead.
moment, Alan Dershowitz is being very civilized in the way he's debating.
I'm sure you're going to say that.
You're just making
He might have leverage on you.
attacks and shouting all the
He's your
time.
friend.
No one can understand it when you
Have you met
shout.
him before?
I know Alan well.
Oh, you know him well.
I respect him very much.
Oh, yes, you do.
He's one of them.
He's just straight up trolling at this point. Ah, you know him well. And the thing is that funny, the reason I think he's doing that, every time he attacks him, right, Piers comes in and only attacks him and doesn't say anything about like Alan Dershowitz. Even the Alan Dershowitz have been interjected him a couple of times. Oh, brother Sydney Football is here. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Walaikum salam. All right, welcome to the stream. Reacting to the hilarious debate between Alan Dershowitz and Hijab. Let's continue.
America's top lawyers.
His top lawyers.
Yeah, he is.
You're an unbiased person here on
An
Central.
unbiased person about Alan Dershowitz. What?
Does he have leverage on you, Piers Morgan?
He's such a troll. Anyway, so how's it going? Yeah, it's been going well. I mean, like, I have a few IDF bot accounts attacking me in the chat, which is fine. I mean, like, but the thing is that if they had like something like tangible to say, it'd be one thing. But the spamming in the comments. Our brother Onlo says right. The debate is not fair. It's 2 versus 1 now. Exactly.
There's no leverage on me, no.
You've got a picture with Maxwell.
Yes, we can lay
Did you go to the island?
No, I've never been to the island. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein.
Be honest.
I never spent more than 5 minutes with
Be
Ghislaine
honest.
Maxwell. I've answered you. So what part of that wants you?
Do you condemn him being on the island? He's your good friend.
You can ask
No,
him
ask him to
Dershowitz
condemn him.
about Jeffrey Epstein.
You had a massage.
He represented him.
He said he didn't take his shorts off.
Do you know what?
That's
None of
that's
this
what
got
he said.
anything to do with Israel.
He said he didn't take his shorts off when he was getting.
By the way, do you guys remember when Piers Morgan bullied that Palestinian that has lost family members on the show? Do you guys remember that? Do you remember how like this? I remember this like this Palestinian girl that came on to Piers Morgan's show. She lost all her family members. Not all her family members. I think 5 of her family members. And did you guys saw how they treated him? Like there was another case where a journalist came on to this show, and they were so awful. They're saying, "Oh, do you condemn Hamas? This and that," all being all aggressive. And now all of a sudden, Piers Morgan has become a vegetable, right? All of a sudden, Piers Morgan can't speak, and he's like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Or where is your level of civility when you're talking to Palestinians? You don't show the civility to Palestinians. All of a sudden, you want that same from other Muslim guests." As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Piers Morgan actually got a Muslim doctor fired from his job because he was kind of like steelmanning the Hamas position, although he wasn't even defending it. He's steelmanning the Hamas position, and he was basically fired from his job after he constantly spread out tweets, right? So he's going to do all this. He's going to get people fired from their livelihood, and then he's going to act like the victim. Why are you doing this, Pierre? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I cannot begin to imagine why you may be doing this. Gee, I wonder why he might be doing this. It's because you do it all the time to your guests, your Palestinian guests, your Muslim guests. You bully them. And when the table is turned, all of a sudden you act like you're the victim. Ross, you can ask, do you condemn Hamas anymore? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Abul Walid, yeah, exactly. He got Abul Walid fired. And it's not just that. Like, this guy bullied so many Palestinians. Like, I remember there was this one person who clearly lost a lot of family members. I think this went viral. I think there was this girl who wears glasses, Palestinian girl, who lost a lot of family members. She went to this. I think it was on Piers Morgan, and he was just constantly like attacking her. And clearly, she's not like some kind of like debater. So she couldn't answer, like, and they were just bullying her instead of like showing any kind of civility or humanity to a person who clearly lost, is traumatized. Like they were just constantly bullying them, and when the table is turned, he can't take it. Like, his fans can't take it. Don't forget the Islamophobic comments like "we oppress women." Yeah, exactly. So, and this is the thing. This is why, you know, like a lot of people are attacking Brother Hijab for this, but for me, I think he was completely right, because the thing is that, like, Pierce has been doing this for a long time, and even many non-Muslims agree with this, which is that, that he basically turned the table on him, right? And sometimes you need to do that, because you cannot, like, allow this kind of things, this kind of bullies, to sometimes just get away with things, you know. And please note that he at that time was defending genocide. Him, Alan Dershowitz, they're all defending genocide and killing of children, you know. Yeah, exactly. This is what I mentioned earlier. Why show humility? Like, why would I be nice to a person who's trying to kill me? Like, that makes no sense. Like, he's like, these people are literally shooting kids in point blank. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys an article. I wanted to show this for a while. Uh, for example, not a normal war. There's an article. Let me show you guys this. Oh, sorry. Share this. Not a normal war. This is a very heartbreaking article. So basically, this is an article that came out in Guardian, 6 months old. Not a normal war. Doctor says, I showed this before, but I want to show it again. Doctors say children have been targeted by Israeli snipers in Gaza. IDF says it completely rejects blah, blah, blah. Of course, they have to mention IDF's garbage rhetoric. Dr. Forzia Alabi says one was making her rounds in intensive care unit where the final day battle where she stopped next to two young arrivals with facial injuries and breathing tubes in their windpipes. I asked the nurse, "What's the history?" She said that they were brought in a couple of hours ago. They had snipers shot to their brain. They were 7 or 8 years old. So you have snipers shooting at children who are like 7 to 6 years old. The Canadian doctor's heart sank. These were not the first time children treated by Alvi, who was told were targeted by Israeli soldiers. And she knew the damage a single high-caliber bullet could do to a fragile young body. They are not able to talk, paraplegic. They were literally lying down as vegetables on this bed. They were not the only ones. I saw even small children with direct sniper shot wounds to the head, as well as in the chest. They were not combatants. They were little children, says Alvi. Yeah, this is what Brother Hijab is debating with. This is what Piers Morgan is defending. So even if you're not a Muslim, I hope you understand where we're coming from. Brother Allah says, yeah, even non-Muslims notice what hijab was simply doing is giving Piers a taste of his own medicine. Yeah, exactly. Children account for more than 1 in 3 of more than 32,000 people killed in Israel's month-long assault in Gaza. According to Palestinian Health Ministry, tens of thousands of more young people have been suffered severe injuries, and including amputation. By the way, the kids that lost their arms and legs, they're gonna get that back. Oftentimes, what happens is that after they're shot or like bombed, their arms have to be amputated. 9 doctors gave Guardian's account of working Gaza hospitals in a year, all of them foreign volunteers. Their common assessment was that most of the dead and wounded children that were treated were hit by a shrapnel or burned during Israel's extensive bombing, or residential neighbors, in some cases wiping out entire families. Others were killed or injured by collapsing, with still more missing under the rubble. Doctors were also reported treating to steady stream people who were not combatant, who were clearly not combatant, with single bullet wounds to the head or chest. So this is clearly, absolutely clear, the fact that the IDF is basically shooting innocent civilians. Like, they're directly targeting them, looking at the scope and directly targeting them. Like, there's no defending this. Like, this is clear-cut execution. And this is obviously a violation of international law. But the point is that when you defend child killers of this proportion, I think this is completely justified. As a matter of fact, if I was there, I would have done worse. I would have gotten physical with these people. But okay, let's just continue. In a fair world, these people would be behind bars. But instead, they're on TV, they're rich, they're powerful, and all we can do is shout at them. So let people like Brother Hijab shout at them. This is the least we can do. Besides making dua.
Can you stop, please, Mohammed?
Why is this uncomfortable?
It's nothing to do with the debate.
He's taking shorts, but he's got his pants down now, hasn't he?
Can you stop it?
Why?
What's the point?
Why? He's defended one of the most obnoxious people in the last 100 years. Why
Which
should I
is
stop?
actually what is going on right
should I
now.
stop it?
In the
Can you stop? Can you stop? Oh, stop it, Hijab. Stop. Where was this kind of like, cat-like behavior when you're like aggressively bullying the Palestinians? We didn't see that when you're doing that. Now all of a sudden, when it comes to Brother Hijab, you became like a cat.
Middle East is incredibly important.
Yes,
You're
and you have this man who's-
you are trivializing that. If you didn't want to do a debate, don't agree to do it.
Who said I'm not going to do a debate? I'm saying this person who's defending Israel.
Stupid ad hominem attacks is pathetic.
Oh, okay. All right. He's your good friend. You want to defend him so much.
What are you talking about?
You're defending him.
Huh?
You're defending him. You're defending a monster.
I'm
A pervert. An old pervert.
He's not a pervert or a monster.
Why is he not? He knew Epstein. And for us, there's good
Why
influence.
do you
Okay, to be fair, I don't think he should have called him a pervert because we don't know whether the accusation against him are actually true or not. You can tell him a horrible person because he's defending genocide, which is worse than being a pervert, in my opinion. But I don't think it's fair to call him a pervert. I will criticize Brother Hijab on this point at the least. I don't think he should have done that because it's not clear. Because even if we hate this guy, which we do, we still should be at least somewhat fair and balanced and not throw accusation that is not proven at least. But this guy's a horrible person. It doesn't really matter. He's defending genocide, so he deserves worse insults.
doing this, Mohammed?
Why not?
Because it's pointless. You might get a few
Okay,
clicks
ask
on.
your questions.
You might get a
Ask
few
your
clicks
questions.
on it. So what?
It's not.
Ask your questions.
Let me be very clear. It's not pointless. He just called me a pervert. He will be sued now
Yeah, that's-
for defamation.
Yeah, he will be sued. You called me a pervert. Like, can you imagine, like, suing someone because they called you a pervert? How pathetic do you have to be, to sue someone because they insulted you? I mean, the thing is that if you don't want to get insulted, like, why defend war criminals, right? I mean, why are you defending war criminals if you don't want to get insulted? Rather on the other side, people say, why did Hijab refuse to have a civilized debate? Well, the answer is simple. You cannot have a civilized debate with an uncivilized person who supports a Nazi-like state. Yeah, exactly. And that's my point, right? Because the thing is that you can have a civilized debate with these people, right? You can be civilized, but who would that serve? That would only paint the narrative that Zionism is as if Zionism is somehow acceptable position, right? Somehow genocide is an acceptable position, which is not. It's a ridiculous position. What has been offered here is ridiculous. This is straight up Israeli propaganda. There's nothing like civilized about this. They're asking for the death and amputation and displacements and ethnic cleansing, starvation. That's what these people are defending. And you're telling me that we have to be civilized with these people. Unbelievable. I think some Muslims like literally lost the plot, and they don't realize what's actually going on the ground. Like, go to a Palestinian who has lost all family members, or Palestinian children who has lost his arms and legs, and tell him that, do you think the people who are defending you being amputated, do you think we should be nice with them? Or do you think we should be civilized with them? See what answer they give you.
And we will be able to resolve this in a court of law. I guarantee you that he will be sued.
In my understanding, you are a pervert.
The woman
because you
who
are
falsely
acquainted with
accused
Jeffrey
me
Epstein.
has now withdrawn her
Sure, I've got my own defamation
accusation
case. I know the
and
law very well here.
acknowledged that
You
she
can't
may
threaten
have
me. You
confused
can't
me with
threaten. I know
somebody
the law very
else.
well.
And
I
calling me
consider
a
you to be a
pervert
pervert
will
because you have a
result
connection with
in
Jeffrey
a
Epstein.
defamation lawsuit
Sure,
in
I'm
an
ready for
American
it.
court
I'm
and in a
ready.
British
I'm ready
court.
for the
I
lawsuit.
assure you of that.
I believe
Let's
you
move
are
on
an
to
old
Israel
pervert.
now.
How do we move
We'll
on to the
resolve
debate?
this in
You're an old
court.
pervert.
Let's move on to
You're an old
Israel.
pervert.
It's really, is there any point considering this?
Do you want to throw the towel?
No, is it? What's the point?
Do you want
I'm
to
doing the
throw the
debate
towel?
you were booked to do.
Do you want to throw the towel?
You were
Speed it
not
up
booked
a
to
bit.
talk
give
about
up?
this.
Do you want to give up?
Let's debate the issues.
Let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about Iran. Let's talk about Iran.
Let's talk about Iran.
Fantastic. Okay.
You support Iran?
Okay, well, let me answer your question. Iran was attacked on April the 1st, right? It was attacked, the embassy of Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is the proportionate response? Because you see, I've been having a more quandary about the issue. Piers Morgan, what's the proportionate response for Iran?
I think one thing about Iran. I think Iran is an unbelievably nefarious place, which has been fueling Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah for many years with a joint ideology that they want to eradicate.
Please note, he didn't ask him what he thinks of Iran. The question was, do you think that Iran has the right to defend itself? Because their embassy was attacked, as I showed earlier. So do you think that they have the right to defend themselves? My brother anxiety is so much. Yeah, I mean, like,
Israel in any way
Hopefully
we
it
can.
comes
So
to
I think
defense.
Iran is one of the most despicable
So right
regimes
defense.
in the world. I also think that right now, the Iranian regime is in serious danger.
You're completely
What do you mean?
You're disheveled.
Tell you what I think of Iran.
I'm asking you, do they have a right to defend themselves? Do you think they have a right to defend themselves? I think you can answer the question. Do they have a right to defend? You're a
It's a simple question. Like, do they have the right to defend themselves? They cannot answer a simple question.
sovereign nation was attacked.
If this was Israel, they'll be like, yes, they have the right to defend themselves. They have the right, so much right to defend themselves that they can literally commit genocide. But when it comes to Iran, all of a sudden, they're silent.
The question is, does they have a right to defend
Iran has been fueling
Isn't that
attacks on
actually
Israel
not-
now for what, 40
They're
years?
having more country. Have they having more country about Iran?
Have you?
Yeah, more country, yes. More country. I don't know. Do they have a right to defend themselves? And if so, what is the proportion?
You're supporting Iran to be.
But do you guys remember how many times he has this kind of moral quandary garbage dump that he throws on any kind of Palestinian guest? Anytime, like a victim of like abuse and a victim of like genocide, he's saying there, oh, I'm having a moral quandary as to whether Israel should have the right to kill your people or not. I don't really know. Do they have the right to kill you and your whole family? I don't know. I'm having a moral quandary. How does it feel? Now all of a sudden he can't speak.
Be clear.
I'm asking you,
Are you supporting Iran?
I'm antithetical to many of these organizations for my own purposes. But my question
Do
is,
you support the Iranian regime?
not unconditionally, but I support their right.
Conditions you agree with them about?
Their right to defend themselves. You believe they have a right to defend themselves.
No, you're terrorists.
Oh, so they don't have a right to defend themselves. Iran doesn't have a right to defend themselves.
They do, but they're not the
So
ones.
where's the proportional
They're not the ones.
He's contradicting at one point. Says, no, they don't have the right to defend themselves. Then he says, oh yeah, they do. This is hilarious. So Israel has the right to defend themselves, but Muslims don't have the right to defend themselves, right? Muslims, I mean, Middle Eastern or Arab people or like Persians don't have the right to defend themselves. Only Jewish people have the right to defend themselves. Like, this is baffling. I mean, these people are like walking contradiction, and like it doesn't get more hilarious than this.
Proportional response. No, you asked this question.
You're just going to keep talking. Can I answer it?
What's the proportional response?
Proportional response to Iran is to stop them trying to destroy Israel through their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. What they've been trying to do for many years.
What is the proportional response of Iran after the embassy was smashed and destroyed?
And then, like he said, that, oh, we have to stop them from trying to destroy Israel. Okay, why are they trying to destroy Israel? Like, what's the reason? Like, what could have Israel have done that they might be trying to stop them? I wonder what they might have done. Like, Israel is just magically, everyone just magically wants to stop Israel or wants to destroy Israel. When in reality, Israel has done nothing. Really, they were just in the middle of this desert countries. They're just like farming like potatoes and whatnot. They did nothing. Like, this is such a kind of like straw man version of like what's actually going on. Like, obviously, the reason Iran wants to destroy, Israel, is because Israel has been a thorn on every Arab country's side. They were a thorn on Iranian side. Like everybody, like no one in that area is safe because of Israel. Because Israel refuses to make any kind of proper diplomatic relation with any of the Arab neighbors. They refuse to do it. Like, it'd be so easy if it is Israel in a normal situation. Israel could easily make allies of all these countries, but it doesn't. It chooses to make enemies on behalf of America, right? And get their own benefits. Brother Shadid Khan is here. Alhamdulillah, bro. Welcome to the stream.
In Syria, and 16 people were killed. Proportional response.
What about the proportional response to everything Iran's done?
Which is against the Vienna Conventions.
What about the response to everything Iran
What did Iran do to Israel? Who did they kill? Who did
They never killed anybody.
Who did they
Iran.
execute?
Including
No,
Iran.
excuse me, hold on. Which Israeli civilian have Iran successfully targeted? Give me one name.
You don't think Iran's responsible for any
I'm
Israeli civilian
I'm
dying?
asking you to.
What about the way they funded?
This is another thing. Now, again, like I have my issues with Iran, the Iranian regime, because they have done horrible things with Bashar al-Assad and like against the Sunni population of Syria. But that being said, in this situation, clearly they're not wrong because they're defending Palestinians and they're defending their own land, right? Their own embassy was attacked. Any country in that situation would do the same thing. If it happened in Saudi Arabia would do the same thing, right? So obviously, in this situation, Iran has the right to retaliate. The same way, some could argue, Palestinians have the right to retaliate after their homes are destroyed, right? But the thing is that, according to the Zionist myth and the Zionist narrative, because they don't see Palestinians or Arabs or like Persians as human beings, they don't think that they have these rights. They don't think that they have this kind of like human rights that is afforded to everyone except these like countries magically somehow, right? It's because these people are racist. Like, they don't see Arabs as like equal to them. And that's what like Israel is founded upon. Israel is founded upon this idea that God chose these people, right, the Jewish people, and they're superior to everyone else. and this is reflected in Judaism, and this is reflected in their country's policy. This is why Israel will never be like a Western liberal country, right? There will never be a liberal country. It's literally logically impossible, because of the foundation of their country is based upon this Jewish kind of like ideology or Jewish myth that their race is superior, and this will be reflected on their policies. This is why this project of like westernizing Middle East will likely fail, because this idea is not even a Western liberal idea in the first place. It's a fascist idea, right? This has nothing to do with liberalism. It's contrast to liberalism. Now, don't get me wrong, liberalism has its own problem, but what Zionism represents is the complete opposite or departure from liberalism. It's the extreme fascism, right? So, but yeah, regardless of
Did Hamas
You can both
slaughter
Iran
1,200 members of Israel?
Iran was Hamas. We've spoken about Hamas. That's old news. You're talking about.
Yes, let him respond.
Yes, go ahead. Who did they successfully
Well,
target?
let me respond.
Yeah, please.
The Iranians have been found by an Argentine court to have been guilty of killing hundreds of Israeli and Jewish people in Buenos Aires. They killed Marines through Hezbollah. They were combatants. But the attack on the Israeli Cultural Center, the attack on the Israeli embassy, let me finish, were attacks, according to the Argentinian judicial proceedings, attacks on Israel, entitling Israel to engage in response. Now,
Yeah, I mean, like Iran is at war with Israel. That's not surprising. Like the thing is that, sorry, Iran has done countless attacks against, Israel has done countless attacks against Iranians, against the Lebanese, against their allies throughout the Middle East. So of course they're gonna fight back. Like that's not, like why is that? Like he's acting as if like he's some kind of like great counter. It's not a great counter. Like of course Iran and Israel has been at war since like long before, since like 1940s and whatnot. So of course they're going to retaliate because they were never at peace, and America, being the reasonable country that it is, never tried to make peace between them, right? So of course they're going to fight. I don't know.
let me
like,
explain what
why-
proportionality means, because you're missing the point. Proportionality doesn't require that a country that's attack back in proportion. Proportionality only means that if you're going to attack a mixed target that has civilians and combatants, the ratio of civilians to combatants must be proportional to the military value of the target. And that's what Israel has been trying to do. But Iran has killed thousands and thousands of Israeli and Jewish civilians over the years. So to defend somehow
So what ratio is
Iran and
acceptable?
saying
What ratio is
that they
acceptable?
were innocent,
What kind of
even the
ratio
people
Iran
who were
is
killed.
Please note the question was, do you think Iran has the right to defend themselves? And he says that, oh, but Iran attacked this random place. It doesn't matter whether Iran attacked this random place outside of the border, right? The thing is that clearly in this situation, they have been provoking Iran constantly. So how do they, so he doesn't answer the question of like, does Iran have the right to defend themselves? He says that, oh, this other area have been attacked and whatnot. Yeah, they've been constantly going back and forth, but that's not the question. The question is, if you're directly attack them on their borders, do they have the right to fight back? Like that's the question, and he doesn't answer it. He's not asking whether or not this some other land, if Iran violates international law or whatnot. He's asking if they're attacked in their own border, do they have the right to defend themselves? And he doesn't answer, because if he answers, he has to admit that yes, they do have the right to attack. Therefore, it becomes legitimate for them to attack Israel, which they did a few days ago. He doesn't want to admit this because his Zionist masters are going to be mad at him if he does that.
Even the people
What
who
ratio
were
is acceptable?
killed
If you
in
talk
the
about
embassy
now, what
were
ratio is acceptable?
combatants who were legitimately
Can you hear me
killed
or
as combatants.
What's an acceptable ratio for you?
So Iran has
Again, like he refuses to answer the question. Brother, Iran did have plenty of bad things, but it never killed a single Israeli general, let alone kill thousands of people. Please fact check what he's saying here. What he's saying here. Iran did do a lot of bad things using their militia, especially against Sunni Muslim population. But in regards to Israel, I don't know whether this is actually accurate or not, this accusation. I could look it up. But as far as I know, Argentina, Iran attacked Israelis. Oh yeah, I think this is what they're talking about. Terrorist attack on like. Let me show you guys this. Yeah, here we go. It's loading still. It's taking too long. It's taking too long. Let me go try something else. Okay. Okay, I think this is what they're referring to. Hold on, let me share this screen. I think he's referring to this AMIA bombing. The AMIA bombing occurred on 18 July 1994 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and targeted Associate Mutual Israelite Argentina-Israelite Mutual Association. A Jewish community center executed as a suicide attack. A bomb-laden van was driven into the AMIA building and subsequently detonated, killing 85 people and injuring over 300. Today bombing, history, to Jewish, etc., etc. Local connection, Buenos Aires province, were not found to be found guilty. In August, Rogers, who was in charge of the case, was impeached or removed. Serious irregularities, miscellaneous investigation. In 2005, Catholic Church who became Pope Francis, was the first public to sign a petition to justice to the MIA bombing case. So yeah, basically this was like a terrorist attack, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence that this was done by Iran. But let's continue reading. Argentine prosecutor marched the Iranian government of directing the bombing. Accuses the Iranian government and the Lebanese Islamist Hezbollah of carrying it out. The person who claimed 2006 Argentina had been targeted by Iran, Buenos Aires, the decision to suspend nuclear, the disputed contract. So yeah, basically they accused Iran of like doing this terrorist attack, but there's no evidence for this, that they were actually behind this. But knowing Iran, it wouldn't be kind of like surprising, but there's no direct evidence that they were actually behind this. But when it comes to the attack against, killing of Nasrallah, which happened a few days ago, Hassan Nasrallah, and then attack against the Hamas leader, what is his name? Ismail Hania. So when it comes to this execution, they admitted openly that they're the one behind this. Like even Netanyahu was going out there boasting, and then you have the pager attacks, right? That again, they didn't deny that they were not behind this. So you have so the point is that this is like a terrorist attack. There's no evidence that Iran was actually behind this. But the thing is that even if they were behind this, like the response to like a terror attack is not to indirectly, without any evidence, bombing an entire country to oblivion. Like that's not the solution. Like the solution is you go to them, you tell them, okay, like we have a problem here. Why is there these attacks are happening? Let's do an investigation. Let's put these people on trial, right? Even if it's done Iran, so what? Iran did something 40 years ago there. So for Israel has the right to attack it now. So what are they saying? Yeah, exactly. This happened like years ago. So how is that relevant to what we're talking about? Because the death of death of Ismail Hania and like death of Hassan Nasrallah and the pager attacks and the bombing the Iranian embassy, all of this is completely irrelevant. They never said that they did these bombings because of like what happened in Argentina. So it's another red herring. Let me pull up the animation. It's another case of red herring. Here we go. Yeah, it's a red herring. I need to distract you. It's a red herring. There's nothing to do with the debate.
There's no right of self-defense against that. Israel was completely entitled to kill. Israel was entitled to kill any combatant that was hiding in an embassy building.
Hold on. You've just conflated two things. You've spoken about the Argentinian case, which there is not actual an independent international investigation on.
Yeah.
Number one. And then you've spoken about, we think about 1st of April. Was that a response to Argentina? It was not a response to Argentina. When on the 1st of April, they bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, they did not do so. They said that is a military base and they were attacking it. But we all know that in this country, for example, every single embassy has military attaches. They have military attaches. So if you go to the US embassy here in London, they have armed officers. Does that make it a viable target? Does that make the US embassy a viable target? The Russian embassy a viable target? This is clearly against the UN convention. It's against the Vienna Convention. You cannot attack an embassy of another nation in another sovereign land. You cannot do that. And
so let me respond to that. Let me Chris,
Let him
let
answer.
me respond to that.
Sake.
Let me respond.
It's been
It was not
evil.
an embassy. It was an ancillary building being used as a military center.
Yeah, if you have an ancillary building, Israel has the right to bomb it because ancillary buildings are anti-Semitic, guys. Ancillary buildings are anti-Semitic. Those buildings don't have the right to exist, so we're gonna bomb it. Anti-Semitic buildings. Subhanallah, man. You know, I mean, like that kind of logic these people use is psychotic.
To plan attacks against Israel. They use the
What's the evidence
pretext
for that?
of it being a building.
There's no evidence for any of this. The things he's claiming, like there's no evidence of this. He's basically saying, oh, there's this building, that looked like an army center or whatever, which is in a foreign country where you have no jurisdiction. Oh, we have the right to. By the way, he's actually not realizing, but he's actually admitting that this bombing was done by Israel, right? So he inadvertently, although Israel never fully confirmed this, here he's basically admitting that yeah, it was Israel. It was Israel that bombed the embassy. But I'm glad that he's doing that. This terrorist attack, but let's continue.
Building
What's the evidence for
somehow
that?
attached
What's the
to
evidence
an
for that?
embassy. The evidence is very clear,
Which is-
and I'd be happy to have them bring a lawsuit.
By the way, even if this is true, this was a military attack, you have no right to attack it. Like this is not like this is what's the in Bengali we have this word. It's called Morgan Munluk. I don't know what's the equivalent of like English would be. It basically means like, is this like a donkey's kingdom or a magic kingdom, magic mushroom kingdom, where you can just attack any country that you don't like or any building you don't like because other country that you have like a problem with is like operating there. Like you cannot do that. Not only are you declaring war on that country, you're declaring war on two countries. So like this is clear violation of international law. And this is the reason why Iran retaliated. And he's admitting that it was Israel that did this.
What's the
And
evidence?
see if it
Bring
can be
the
resolved
evidence.
in a court of law. But Israel was entitled to regard who was killed. The people who were killed were military people who were planning attacks on
No, that's
Israel
not true. There was
using an
civilians that
annex
also
to
killed.
I mean, this is so ridiculous. Like, even if there were military there, you have no right to attack it. Like, this guy is supposed to be a lawyer. Like, he doesn't understand basic logic.
building to
civilians
do
that also
it.
killed.
Did that
That's not
justify
true.
3,000 rockets being sent into Israel
Hold on.
and then
Let me respond.
180
Have you spoken
ballistic missiles
Have you
being
made your
sent
point?
into Israel?
Have
No,
you
of
made your
course
point?
not.
Okay. The response is as follows. First of all, 16 people were killed officially, and of them, there were 2 civilians that were killed. So what you're saying is only military targets is flatly false, squarely false, barefaced lie. You're a liar. As you were a liar when you were defending Epstein. That's number one. Number two is, when you say that, okay, that was a response. When Iran then, on the 14th of April, responded with missiles, once again, how many casualties were there? How many casualties were there? Zero. Just like there were 0 casualties when they responded recently in October. Not one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, say what you will about Iran, at least when they attacked, well, to be fair, like, it's possible that most of their attacks were actually stopped. But that being said, like, if you look at the footage or some of the footage that came out, they were mostly attacking military targets. So which I find interesting because they did the same thing in Syria and mostly civilians got killed, which again like shows that they're not very consistent regarding their position. But the point is that when they're attacking Israel, clearly they were attacking kind of like military bases. So no one got harmed in this attack. But the thing is that when Israel is attacking Lebanon, people are getting killed. Like nearly 2,000, 3,000 people have already died. Their blood is on your hands, and that is a crime.
Person died except for one Palestinian, ironically enough, that was apparently killed in October 1. But in the April 1, no one died. It was precise strikes at military bases. Number two, you speak about this being a base. As I say now, if you look at Collins' dictionary right now, there's 2 aspects of what is a military base, vernacularly speaking. Number one is that there has to be weapons in that place. And number two, that there has to be training of soldiers. This is usually understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up. Those are made up stories. There's no truth
What's
to that
made
at
up?
all.
What's made up? Which part
There's no
is made
truth to
up?
that.
Let him respond.
So personally, I would take a different approach regarding this topic, right? Like I would say that like even if I was to agree that this was a military base, like you have no right to attack that base. It's not on your territory. You cannot just do whatever you like just because you don't like a building. Like what kind of logic is this? Imagine this, right? Imagine Israel doesn't like a building in America that looks like it has like Palestinians living in it. Can Israel then bomb America and that building? No, of course not. Like you cannot like attack another country and take out people there. That's extrajudicial killing. This is assassination. This is terrorist attack. That's what it is. It's terrorist attack. He's defending a terrorist attack. This guy lost his mind. Maybe him parting with Jeffrey Epstein rotted his brain.
The fact that you need weapons, the fact that you need weapons for it to be a military base, that's just made up. You don't need weapons to have a military base. It can be a command center where they're planning attacks. That's just made up.
Let me finish. If we
The more
take
you say,
this-
the happier I am.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is that if you look at almost every Western government embassy in the West and outside of the West, they have military attaches. You can fact check this. You can go online. You will see in the US embassy, in the French embassy.
Rather on the 2,000 to 3,000 people allegedly already, and they're committing huge genocide now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing with Lebanon is that they already have a history of attacking Lebanon. They have a very brutal history with attacking Lebanese people, and that's how Hezbollah was formed. By the way, Hezbollah didn't came out of nowhere. Hezbollah came because Israel was targeting Palestinians that was living inside Lebanon. That led to a civil war. That then started endlessly bombing Lebanon. Right? Please note that the Lebanese people who are not necessarily part of, who are not necessarily Palestinian, they're now in terrible danger because of the Israeli aggression. But in reality, like they didn't do anything. You know, like the thing is that they've been exchanging fire and attack between Israel and Hezbollah. And now you have these people that are kind of like caught in the crossfire. And the thing is that Israel could easily simply make a deal with Hezbollah and like deal with Hamas and say that, you know, we're gonna release the hostages, in return you release our hostages. Like ceasefire is what people are talking about. But they're not interested in ceasefire. They're interested in killing more Arabs because they want those lands. They want a greater Israel. So
In the British embassy, military guards, people that have their own weapons and guns. So according to you, that would be a military base. So are they
No,
eligible
what
targets?
happened in this
Are they
case was they
eligible-
used
can we
an
then
annex of a
convene-
building
Can we then
as a
convene the
military
Vienna
base.
agreements? Can we then a convention?
You
Can we
don't
then
know what
can we
you're
then-
talking about. You have no knowledge of international law or diplomacy law, the law of
You
war.
have
So
one peer
please.
reviewed. You don't have one peer reviewed work on international law. And Jimmy Carter, the former US president, said you have no knowledge of Palestine. Don't speak to me about Palestine's issues. Jimmy Carter,
I
former
have-
president of the United States, as you
I have-
written in your book, he said that you have no knowledge of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter said that. Don't speak to me.
Well, you
about
want to hear
that.
something?
Yeah,
It
the only
was in
thing
my
you have
book.
knowledge
In
about
fact,
whether
it was
those
in
rooms and the
it was in the back.
massages are-
It was in the back
That's
of my
fine.
book.
Sake.
I've
That's what you have knowledge of.
written 13
Did you
books.
touch
I've written
Virginia?
13
Did you
books
touch
on
her?
Israel,
Did you touch Virginia?
some of which
Did
have
you touch her? Did you touch that woman?
never heard of her. Never met her. Never met
Don't
her.
lie.
Never she.
Don't lie.
So basically, he's talking about the accusation that they had against him. She had against him. I think the girl's name is Virginia. So basically, she accuses him of acid her. She later kind of like dropped the case. So he's bringing it up. So
Did you
I mean, like the thing is that again, like he's trying to defend or morally justify these clear terrorist attacks, and this guy also is accused of like this kind of explicit kind of like asset cases, right? So the thing is that why would you accept anything this guy has to say? Like he's been destroyed in this debate. He's been absolutely manhandled in this debate.
touch that woman or not?
I mean, already been done. He's already been destroyed by people like Norman Finkelstein. But the thing is that Hijab did it a second time here.
I'm telling you, I never met her, and she acknowledged
Did you
in
touch that
writing
woman?
under oath
Did you
that
touch
she
this
may
woman?
have
No, no,
confused
no,
with someone
no,
else.
no,
And
I'm
terminated
asking
the
a
case. So
question.
they don't have to-
Because he won a case. It was proven to be lies.
I'm asking
Why
a
are you
question.
doing this?
I'm asking a question.
This is not about Israel.
This is
You're trying to be clever. What you're doing is
Why are you doing this, Hijab? Why are you doing this? Don't do this. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this, Hijab? Why? Don't do this. Don't accuse my sexually assaulting friend. Don't do this. Why, Hijab? Why? Subhanallah, like this guy used to bully so many Muslim guests. He got people fired, and now look at him like being a complete weasel. He's defending genocide. Like these people have no shame, honestly.
inviting a lawsuit from Anna, which you will
I'm
get.
ready for it.
You are?
Yeah,
really?
I've got 4 defamation cases, all of which your friend Douglas Murray I'm taking him to court.
Well, good luck taking on Anna on this. Is all
I'm ready for it. Oh, you love him, don't you?
No, it's just one case.
I just wonder
defending himself.
I just wonder what leverage he has. Does he have any leverage?
God, it's pathetic, man.
I don't know why you keep defending
He's
him.
now
Why-
accusing
you
me of
got story,
destroying
Thomas. Why
Pierce
do you think
He's a
Morgan,
monster.
right?
This man is a monster.
Well, why debate then?
Because I don't mind debating monsters, just like you don't mind debating monsters, but we have that in common.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important for people to realize that these people are literally monsters. Okay, they're defending the killings and deaths of thousands of innocent people. First, at first, it was just concentrated on Gaza. Now it's not even on Gaza anymore. It's spreading on Lebanon. Now the people of Lebanon are in the crosshairs, and who knows what's going to happen if they actually start pushing inside Iran. It's funny because I see a lot of ex-Muslim defending Israel. Like, do you idiots not realize that when Israel actually starts bombing Iran, they're going to flatten it? Okay, they're not going to leave anything breathing. Okay, if you have family, if you're an ex-Muslim, if you have a family in Iran, you better get out, because Israel is not going to care. They're going to kill everybody. Okay, these idiots don't realize how evil Israel actually is. They don't they think that Israel is somehow this ally of ex-Muslims, right? Because in Iran they have a lot of ex-Muslims, right? These ex-Muslims are thinking, oh my God, Israel is gonna come, they're gonna save us, guys. That's not what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is they're gonna shoot you, they're gonna kill you, they're gonna maim you, they're gonna blow you into pieces. Okay, because Israel is basically a monster. It's a rogue state. They're gonna do things that are completely unimaginable. They're not gonna care what you look like. They're gonna blow everything. They're gonna turn Iran into a parking lot, as one of their ministers says. So keep cheering them on. And these ex-Muslims, people like Apostle Prophet and all this kind of David Wood, they think that Israel taking over Lebanon and Iran is a good thing. You have no idea. Like, your own people are gonna get killed. Like, these ex-Muslims that are laughing and enjoying this, your own families that are living in Iran are gonna get killed. But the Christian David Wood, when he's laughing about this, your own fellow Christians are gonna get killed. So find that.
Do you want to finish the debate about the bigger picture or not?
I'm speaking about it. You guys are the ones rattled. I'm not
No one's
rattled.
rattled. We think it's
You're both
pathetic.
rattled.
We think it's pathetic. You don't understand what you're talking about.
Really, that's just an assertion, really, isn't it?
No, you're just trying to get your clicks on X, and that's fine.
Oh, is that what you do? Is there anything wrong with that?
No, you know what? Try and debate the issue.
You always brag about it.
Try and debate
You brag
the
about it myself. We've got a million views, 2 million views. You talk about it all the time.
Let me ask you something, which is about what Israel is doing. At the heart of it, if you take the belief that Iran is the main target here, a lot of Israelis believe that Iran is really rattled and that Israel has a genuine opportunity to topple this regime. Do you think that is a likely eventuality? Is it a thing that Israel should be pushing to do?
I think if Israel has the military capacity to destroy
Brother Anand said, bro, this must be a clown show for you, laughing so much here. I mean, it is. I don't know what to. You're laughing so much here. Yeah, I don't know how to react to this, right? On one hand, you have these kind of absolutely deplorable people defending a deplorable situation, and on the other hand, you have Brother Hijab just clowning them. So yeah, I'm laughing because these are horrible people. They need to be laughed at. And the thing is that the situation on the ground is clearly not something that's funny. But the thing is that we can at least laugh and mock these people that are actually defending this evil thing, right? Because they deserve it. These people deserve it. Piers Morgan is a clown. Yeah, Piers Morgan. Honestly, I think all these Zionists. Piers Morgan need to be on Joker 2. The movie Joker 2. He needs to be there.
Iran's nuclear abilities to create a nuclear arsenal and can do it with minimum civilian casualties, the way it did it in Iraq and the way it did it in Syria. It ought to do that. But if it risks a wider war, then obviously it has to take into account other considerations and the opinions of the United States. So it's largely a military question. Israel certainly has the right to destroy Iran's nuclear capacity. Rafsanjani, the former president of Iran, said if Iran developed...
Yeah, he says that Israel has the right to, quote unquote, destroy Iran's nuclear program. Okay, under which international law it says that if there's a country that you think is a rival to you, you then have the right to simply bomb that country and destroy it completely. Like, what international law says that you can do that? Nothing. He's talking out of his junk. There's nothing in international law that says that you can do that. That's completely illegitimate. This is illegal. This is a violation of international law. This is a terrorist attack. He's justifying terrorist attack, right? This is not like warfare. He's talking about destroying their nuclear facility, which is illegal. You cannot do that on someone else's border. Like, this guy doesn't understand basic law.
Develop nuclear weapons, they would use them against Israel, kill 3 million Israelis. Israel's a one-bomb state. That would be the end of Israel. And even if Israel retaliated and killed 10 million Muslims in Tehran, the trade-off would be worth it. No country should ever accept that kind of a threat. The United States wouldn't. They didn't in the Cuban Missile Crisis. And Israel...
So his argument is that, Iran poses a great threat for us. It's an existential threat, which is a lie, by the way. Iran is no more of a threat than a child is a threat to an adult man. Like, Israel, the amount of military capability that Israel has is insane. So first of all, Iran is not a threat to. Now, don't get me wrong, Iran is very powerful, but if it's just a simply one-on-one fight, then Israel is very secure. Like, Iran is not a threat to them. But then they're saying that, Iran is an existential threat, etc., etc. If that was the case, then why not make peace with them? If you think, they're so dangerous, then make peace with them. Of course, that is an option. That is a valid option. So basically, here's what he's doing. He's committing the black and white fallacy. He's only giving you two options, right? He's saying that either we have to commit this genocide and destroy Iran completely, or they're going to destroy us. When in reality, that's not the only two options. The third option is that you can make peace with them. That's what you do in this situation. You make peace with your enemy. You use diplomacy. That's what America did with Soviet Union. I mean, do you think the Soviet Union did not want to destroy America? Or America did not want to destroy Soviet Union? Of course they did. They were planning on it. But they didn't do that because they saw diplomacy as a valid option. And we avoided World War III. Instead, we had a Cold War, which didn't do that much harm. When really that could have been the end of like the little world as we know it. Because both Soviet Union and like America was like nuclear superpowers, right? That was a legitimate case of where you had existential threat. But American politicians and Soviet politicians realized this is a bad idea because they were actually smart people and they put an end to it, right? And instead of learning from history, what you're doing is that you're creating problems and you're saying that, oh, it's an existential threat and you're putting everyone in danger. Now, the thing is that if Iran actually does have nuclear weapons, that's the end of both Israel and Iran and the neighboring countries. Because if a nuclear war happens, all of a huge chunk of Middle East is going to get wiped out. And who's going to benefit from this? So his logic is so stupid. Like he's saying that, oh, they're an existential threat. Well, the way to de-escalate an existential threat is by making peace. It's not by being more aggressive. But Dr. Mohammad Hijab, why are you doing this? Piers Morgan. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. Israel has. Iran is the one who fears nuclear holocaust. Yeah, exactly. Now, to be fair, I don't know whether Iran actually doesn't have. I think Iran may have nuclear weapon because they're very close with Russia, and Russia definitely does have nuclear weapons. I mean, even the other day, I think the Iranian Shah, Ayatollah Khomeini basically met with Putin, and I do think that if America actually does get involved and actually participates in attacking Iran, then definitely Russia is going to step in. They're going to send them all the weapons they need, and this is exactly what they did with Bashar al-Assad. Also, by the way, there's a reason why Bashar al-Assad couldn't be toppled. It's because they're backed by both Russia and Iran, and them being joined together is actually a very powerful army, right? So the thing is that I wouldn't say that they don't have nuclear weapons. I would say they had nuclear weapon ally, right? Now, of course, Russia is busy with like their own kind of like war in Ukraine, but Russia has the capability of expanding their war in other places. So I wouldn't agree that they don't necessarily have nuclear weapons, but I would say that they have nuclear weapon ally. This is what I would say.
Shouldn't as well, but it's a military decision, and I'm not competent to resolve whether Israel has the capacity to destroy Iran's nuclear ability without too many civilian casualties.
Okay,
That's a military question.
Do you think Hezbollah are terrorists or freedom fighters?
I have an antithetical view to Hezbollah, and that's been well documented in the record.
What's your view? I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to debate it into a sectarian debate.
You can comment about Hezbollah.
Sure, I don't necessarily have an antithetical view to Hezbollah. However, on this
What do you
case, what I mean by that is I don't necessarily support them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Because
How do you categorize them?
I categorize Hezbollah in their response to Israel as justified in that response.
And in the response for Assad in Syria?
Clearly,
against Tel Aviv?
yeah, well, you and I both know that I have an antithetical view. I don't think that they were on the right side of history, and I do think they were acting in
They
it.
were terrorists then?
Well, I mean, it depends on how I think the word terrorism is a social construct.
What were they when they fought for Assad?
So yeah, there's like this whole drama that's been happening on Twitter, on like YouTube, between Daniel Hakikaju and Jake, the Muslim metaphysician. I didn't react to this drama because, frankly, I'm kind of tired of these dramas and YouTube dramas. I don't want to engage in that. So basically, obviously, Iran has done horrible things to our Syrian brothers and sisters. They've been involved in many bombings there, along with Bashar al-Assad. So that's what basically they're referring to. But that's not relevant to the attack that is happening here. Of course, we condemn Hezbollah and we condemn Iran when they did this, when they attacked our Sunni brothers and sisters in Syria. So when Syrians like rejoice when Iran is attacked, that's completely legitimate. That's not illegitimate. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that when Syrians are happy that the fact that the people that tormented them are getting attacked, they're not wrong. Like that's completely legitimate emotional response. But that being said, if Israel actually is able to defeat Iran, that's worse for Sunni Muslims. Both Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims in the area. So I think that at least when it comes to the question of Israel, we have to be careful and at least agree on the things we agree upon, right? Like, I'm not saying that we need to be allies with like Iran or whatever, because Iran, frankly, Iran itself is engaging in a lot of kind of like sectarian conflict. But the thing is that Muslim world at the least needs to do everything it can to stop Israel and its warpath, you know. And I think that's my opinion on this. I don't necessarily agree with the idea that we have to ally with like Iran, but at the same time, like, who else do we have? Like, we don't have, like, the thing is that Sunni Muslim, like, if you're going to say that we shouldn't be allies with Iran, which is a valid point, then the Sunni Muslims need to have some kind of coalition that will actually stop Israel and help people of Gaza. But if we're not going to have that, then what other options is there for the Palestinians, right? So I think this is a very kind of like it depends kind of situation. But the thing is that the real solution would be for the Sunni Muslims to join together and actually try to stop Israel militarily. And then if Iran wants to be allies with us, then there has to be conditions to that, like they cannot attack Sunnis using their militias anymore, or this kind of like proxy wars. They need to stop doing that. Based on those conditions, yes, there can be an alliance. But unless that happens, you know, this is a very kind of complex issue. But regardless, let's continue.
Oppressive, and that's on the record. There's no doubt about it. You can call whatever you want.
But they're all the things that you would say Israel is.
When they were doing the thing with Bashar al-Assad, that is, of course, my view.
But they're only that thing when they're doing that. When they're attacking Israel, that's fine.
When they attacked Israel,
When they're attacking Arabs on behalf of Bashar al-Assad,
that shows consistency.
No, hang on.
Doesn't that show consistency?
No,
why not?
It doesn't show consistency.
It shows consistency.
The inconsistency is that you think that was bad, but when they're attacking Israel,
Okay,
that's fine.
let's respond. On the 8th of October, you mentioned many times.
So he said that, isn't it inconsistent for Brother Hijab to kind of like condemn when Hezbollah is attacking Sunnis in Syria, but then when they're doing the same thing to the Jews, you're not doing the same. But the thing is that the context is not the same. Here is committing the faulty comparison fallacy. Hold on, let me bring it up. Here we go. So yeah, so basically here is committing the faulty comparison fallacy. The two things are not the same, right? For example, when Hezbollah and like Iranian allies, when they bombed kind of like Syria and Syrian civilians, that was obviously bad, and we condemn that. But the thing is that when they're bombing kind of like Iran, when they're bombing Israel, that's not the same thing. They're bombing Israel because Israel attacked first. When it comes to Syria, that was not what's happening. Like when it comes to Syria, it was they did commit war crimes, but they're not committing war crimes when they're attacking Israel, because Israel itself is the aggressor here. So the two situations is not the same. And here Piers is trying to make it seem like, they're both the same. No, they're not the same. Israel is clearly the criminal here, and they're trying to stop the criminal. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. However, when they were trying to got involved in the civil war, which has a very complicated situation, they made the situation worse. That was obviously bad. But regardless, again, like, I don't want to get into any kind of like sectarian debate or conflict on this issue, because what I understand is that whether Shia or Sunni want to agree and at least work on this topic of protecting Palestinians. But regardless, let's continue.
Times before your interviews that they attacked Israel. They attacked Israel, right? That's not true. They attacked the Sheba farms, which is occupied territory.
Israel has claimed its own since 1967.
Wait, Israel occupied territory.
Israel has claimed as its own
this
since
shows your lack of knowledge on the matter. It doesn't.
What I want to say is not true. They claimed it as their own since 1967.
Hold on, this is occupied territory according to the UN. According to the US, it's occupied.
I just said Israel claimed it.
So what? They can claim. I can claim. ISIS has made many claims.
So given Israel,
whatever Israel claims is true. Is that what we're meant to believe?
Hezbollah has fired beyond the Sheba farms. Hezbollah has fired into Israeli cities.
Hold on.
Israel has fired into Haifa.
So basically, what they're talking about is they're saying that Hezbollah basically attacked Israel, etc., etc. So, and Brother Hijab is basically saying no, they attacked a Sheba farm, which is a disputed territory in Syria, right? Now, personally, I don't know if this is a good argument, because Syria is basically allies with Hezbollah, right? So when Israel is attacking them, it's not necessarily the case that they're attacking a disputed territory, but more like they're attacking, a country that don't go along with. Well, of course, that's still wrong, because you cannot do that. That's like a terrorist attack, because you're attacking on a completely different country. You cannot do that. So it's wrong either way. The doctor says, I love Daniel Hakikuju and the Muslim Association. I'm very sad to see they hate one another. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that kind of like drama, but I don't want to comment on it because at this point, I think we should focus on trying to do everything we can for the Palestinians and the Lebanese people and even the Iranian people, right? Because we need to do everything we can to stop this onslaught and this kind of monster has been created.
Dershowitz, I haven't finished yet. On the 8th of, you talked about 8th of October. When they fired on the 8th of October, they fired, and you can go ahead and bring evidence that they fired anywhere else other than the Sheba farms. They fired on the Sheba farms. After that, there was response from Israel. And then after that, because there was response of Israel into Lebanon, then Hezbollah attacked the northern part of Israel. This is what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Israel attacked first. Now, regarding the situation, regarding should we be allies with like Iran and whatnot, my position is that it based on the context, right? Like, is Iran able to accept the criticism and accept responsibility that they did destroy a lot of and killed a lot of Sunni Muslims in Syria? If they do acknowledge that, are they willing to help these families financially or other ways, right? Are they willing to pay blood money, for example? If the answer is no, then no. How can we like be allies with that kind of situation? But the thing is that it depends on the situation, right? If Iran wants to be allies, then Iran has to take initiative, right? If they don't take initiative, then like obviously the situation is up in the air. But the point is, it's a complicated situation, and it's not really relevant to defending Palestinians and what's going on in Gaza and Lebanon. Right? These innocent people are getting killed. On that point, we can all agree, with even if you're not a Muslim, that these people need to be defended, and the war crimes that have been done by Israel is something that should be stopped. So on that point, we can all agree and work together. And regarding the complicated issue, we also need to resolve that. But for now, this is where the focus should be. But wait, Saudi Arabia also killed thousands of Muslims in Yemen. Yeah, exactly, and that was also bad, right? But yeah, but the thing is that Saudi Arabia, from what I understand, made peace with the Yemenis for now, at the least. I don't think they have any more ongoing conflict, at least for now. So again, like I don't see like that's being relevant to this discussion here.
And that is justified according to international law. So on this issue, you will not find differences between Sunnis and Shias. You won't find differences in us. We are all united in the hatred of the Zionist entity.
All right, Alan, your response to that?
Well, Hezbollah has been firing rockets at Israel for years and years under the auspices of Iran. Israel has fought back and responded. And Nasrallah has called for all the Jews of the world to be brought together into Israel so that
they invaded Lebanon like hundreds of times. Like, what are you talking about? They invaded Lebanon for like 3 to 4 times. The first time they invaded Lebanon, they said that, there are Palestinians there, we need to wipe them out. And they couldn't wipe them out. They just made a mess and killed like hundreds of thousands of people. And then Hezbollah came out of it. And then they attacked them again. And then the same situation. It's like a cycle, right? They do this all the time. It's a violent cycle. And they're saying that they're doing it. They're going to do it again. Einstein, I think it's Einstein. Einstein said that if you're a crazy person, if you try the same thing over and over again, even though it doesn't work, right? So these people are psychopathic. They're saying that we're going to do all this mass slaughter all over again, and that's going to solve the situation. No, it's not. Just admit that you have no interest in solving the conflict. The reason you're doing this is so Netanyahu can stay in power. Like, that's the reason you're doing this.
they can be taken care of at the same time in the way that Hitler took care of the Jews of Europe. This is a genocidal claim by Nasrallah on behalf of Hezbollah. And certainly Israel had the right to respond to Hezbollah as they did. And, you can quarrel with particular responses as you can quarrel with particular responses of any country. What the United States did after 9/11 was seen by many as an overreaction. Countries react when their civilians are murdered the way they were on 9/11 and the way they were on October 7th. And Israel had the right to respond. The United States and the world said so. And Hamas could end all the suffering in Gaza instantaneously by simply releasing the hostages and putting down their arms and calling for a genuine peace rather than a tactical ceasefire that just allows them.
So do you notice how his demand is completely one-sided? He's saying that, Hamas need to lay down their weapons and stop fighting so we can continue to commit genocide. What kind of deal is that? Imagine this, right? Imagine some robbers come to my house and start killing my family members and say that, then I go to fight them, and they say that, you cannot fight us. If you want peace, you need to lay down your weapons and trust that we will not harm you or your family. No one's going to do that. We have no reason to trust you. We have no reason to believe that you're actually going to do what you say, because your previous records say otherwise. So you're the one who needs to give us reassurance in the way that by putting down your weapons, right? It doesn't work like that. where you just demand whatever you want, and the persons or people you're fighting is just accepts it. Brother Mohammed said, bro, Israel made hundreds of genocidal statements. Alan has no right to complain about genocidal statements. Oh yeah, I didn't really notice that.
them to rearm and repeat October 7th. Remember, they said they would repeat October 7th over and over and over and over again. And as Elie Wiesel once said, always believe the threats of your enemies more than the promises of your friends.
Like, how many genocidal statements did Israel made? Like Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu literally said that we're gonna, remember what Amalek has done to you. That's like his famous statement. Then you have the Secretary General who said that, oh, there's not gonna be any food or water. We're fighting human animals. They're constantly comparing them with animals. You have rabbis, chief rabbis, that are saying things like, oh, Palestinians are animals and whatnot. Then in another interview where one of the Israeli advisor, I think, he, when debating with like Mehdi Hassan, basically admitted that, oh, if this can all stop if only Hamas surrenders. What does that mean? It means that they're killing all these innocent people because they want to force Hamas to surrender. So this is basically this is a war crime. This is terrorism. Because that's exactly what terrorists do. They attack civilians to force the government to do what they want. This is terrorist attack. Yeah. On the ICJ court case, they have an article which documents all the hundreds of genocide.
And so Israel has to act
Okay, let me bring
on the
back
assumption
Mohammed.
that Hamas is going to try to do this again and again.
Okay, Mohammed, you said so far, if I'm wrong. You don't support Hamas, you don't support Hezbollah. So there's probably more into agreement with Dershowitz to me than you might like to admit if you don't support those two groups.
Okay, so I don't see what that's got to do with anything.
We were talking about.
about
So at the start, I wanted to find points of agreement.
Sure.
Can we all agree that Hamas and Hezbollah are a bad thing?
I can agree that the Western man, has tried to use social constructs like terrorism to try and absolve themselves from all the things that they.
What would you call them, Hamas and Hezbollah?
Well, I mean, just like any human being. They can sometimes be oppressive and they can sometimes be on the right side of
Most
history.
human beings do not do what Hamas did on October the 7th.
Well, in the Zionist entity, they do. And they do worse
They
than
don't.
that. They don't.
Israel's never committed an atrocity on that scale.
On what scale?
On that scale.
Explain. What scale?
Killing 1,200 people.
They've killed 40,000.
Sorry, in one day.
40,000. Like everything the Piers Morgan says is just immediately becomes a meme. Like he said, Israel has never harmed anybody. Like, who believes that? Like, do you even believe that? Like, he's just saying things that are coming on his mouth. Really, Israel has not killed anybody? How many people? Like he's just speaking nonsense. They kill like hundreds of people. By the way, the number 40,000 or 50,000, this number is not accurate. There's been another human rights group that has actually done calculations, and they said the number is way higher than this. It's near to 100,000, or at least over 100,000. And also, please remember, the amount of people. There's a strong chance that a lot of people may die due to starvation. For example, to stop food aid in Gaza. Yeah, so basically, just today, I think Netanyahu says that he's looking at a plan to seal off all humanitarian aid. Let me show you guys this. This is an important article. It came out, I think, today or yesterday. It's on AP. So basically, it says the following. Netanyahu mulls plan to empty northern Gaza of civilians and cut off aid to those left inside. So basically, what this means is that he basically wants to stop all food from coming in, which means that this is literally Netanyahu putting Palestinians in a gas chamber, the same way kind of like Adolf Hitler put like the Jews in a gas chamber. Basically, what he's doing is that he's going to seal off everything so people die of starvation. Like, even after this, if you still think they're not trying to commit a genocide, you're a moron. Like, you're legitimately a moron if you think that Israel is not trying to commit a genocide. Now, the thing is that they're already doing it anyway, but now they're just coming out and admitting this, right? So yeah, this is straight up, like, even they're admitting that this is genocide. So when he's Brother Shandalan says there's a great debate by a channel called Madam Prada, which was a great presentation of why the official Gaza death toll is way lower than the real number. Yeah, I think I saw that video, but yeah, the official number is way lower than the actual number.
Day, massacring any Israelis could get their hands on, kidnapping children.
Yeah. By the way, if Israel can actually do this and no aid can come into Gaza, this will be the death of all of Gaza. This could potentially kill all of them. So this is clear-cut genocide, right? And we're talking about deaths of millions of people, the same as Holocaust. So if you're saying that these people are willing to kill millions of people, now how can you say that at the same breath that Israel did not kill anybody, they're not trying to harm anybody? Like, are you a moron? Are you stupid?
Kidnapping Holocaust survivors, raping and abusing women, beheading people. Oh, you don't think that happened here?
Well, hold on. You just said raping and abusing. You started the show with an admission that there's a problem in Israeli society. That there was
Talking about Hamas.
Yeah, but you just said Israel doesn't
We
do it.
both condemned what you talked about earlier.
So why are you saying Israel don't do that? What's wrong with
I
you?
didn't say that.
You just said that now.
No, I didn't.
You said Israel doesn't do it, and then you just listed 3 or 4 things. That was one of the things.
Yeah,
So
he
Israel
did.
never
Am I speaking of
He just said it a few seconds ago. Let me go back.
Dershowitz to me, then you might like to admit if you don't support those two groups.
Okay, so I don't see what that's got to do with anything.
That's great.
We were talking about.
I said at the start, I wanted to find points of agreement.
Sure.
Can we all agree that Hamas and Hezbollah are a bad thing?
I can agree that the Western man, has tried to use social constructs like terrorism
this?
to try and absolve themselves from all the things that they've
What would you
done.
call them, Hamas and Hezbollah?
Well, I mean, just like any human being. Just like any human being, they can sometimes be oppressive and they can sometimes be on the right side of
Most
it.
human beings do not do what Hamas did not do with themselves.
Well, in design sense, they do. And they do worse
They
than
don't.
that. They don't.
Israel's never committed an atrocity on that scale.
On what scale?
You hear that? Israel, he says that Israel, here he is clearly saying Israel has never done what like Hamas has did. And Brother Hijab was saying that no, they did, and he's denying it. And then later on, he said, "Oh, I never said that."
On that scale.
Explain.
7,000.
Okay, sure.
Think about that number.
Okay, no.
In one day against the people.
How many
of Palestine.
are you saying Israel don't do that? What's wrong with
I
you?
didn't say that.
You just said that now.
No, I didn't.
You said Israel.
Yeah. Did you guys see that? He just said that. He just said that. Oh, Israel has never done what Hamas has did, and now he said, "No, I never said that." Like he's contradicting himself in his own show.
doesn't do, and then you just listed 3 or 4 things, and that was one of the things.
No, I said Israel.
Am I speaking of foreign partners?
Sorry, listen to what I'm saying. I said Israel never perpetrated an atrocity on that scale.
Okay.
In one day against the people.
That's not what he said. He said that Israel has never done something like this. That's what he said. Now he's walking back, moving the goalpost because he clearly caught him on a contradiction.
How many
They never have.
Hold on. How many civilians died in October 7th?
Civilians about 800.
Oh, sure. All right,
But
hold on.
these 7,000 more were wounded.
Sure.
7,000
What happened on the
more
23rd of September?
were wounded.
What happened on the 23rd of
7,000.
Okay, sure.
Think about that number.
Okay, no problem.
That's the scale of people who were attacked on that
Are we
day.
talking over each other? Let's do it one.
8,000 people were attacked.
No problem. On the 23rd,
One of the most horrendous terror
Is this
attacks
gonna be a monologue
in
or is it a
modern
dialogue?
history. I'm telling you some facts.
I know the
I may not like it, but I'm telling you them.
okay, I'm telling you, on the 23rd of September, Israel attacked Lebanon. How many people died? How many civilians died? According to the Lebanese health, the Ministry of
I
Health.
believe it's about 2,000 was the last recorded number I saw.
In one day. On the 23rd of September.
including combatants, including many combatants.
On the
They haven't
23rd of
said
September.
combatants.
How many died? Why don't we have a
We
year
don't know how many
commemorating the
civilians
23rd of a year commemorating
Yeah, so basically they're constantly whining about October 7. Here on Lebanon, on one day they killed nearly 2,000 people, which is like 2 times the number of October 7, right? So, so Brother Hijab is right. Like, why don't we have a day commemorating the September, the month of September,
the 23rd of September? Since we're having a year commemorating the
23rd of September.
7th of October, about 600 people died, 650 people, civilians died on that day. That's quite close, isn't it?
We don't know the
8,000.
civilians. They don't distinguish between
8,000
civilians and
people
We're
combatants.
not talking about attack, we're talking about dead. What's wrong with you? Why are you not looking at me again? You're crying. Are you crying?
Because if you were to sing the three of us together,
I see that there's tears in your eyes.
no tears in my eyes.
What's going on?
There's a slight sense of exasperation.
Sure, there should be, because you are employing.
What do you think I am?
I think you said it yourself with your interview with Mehdi Hassan. I think you're just biased. You talk about tribes.
Who am I biased against?
You're biased against anything anti-Western. Clearly, you said
What a ridiculous statement.
because you said it yourself. You said the reason why you have such and such a view with Russia.
I think I was
and Ukraine-
biased when I led the media campaign against.
Oh, Piers Morgan is not biased, guys. You know, the accusation of bias is anti-Semitic.
the Iraq War.
No, I think
Was I biased against brown people?
You're good.
Was I?
You're,
Oh, I was good there because you agree with me.
Sure, because you're on the side of truth. Just like I could say Hezbollah was on the side of truth in 2013, but they're not on the side of truth today. I can say this, and even though they're Muslims just like me, just like I can say that Hamas is wrong for doing such and such a thing, but they're right on such and such a thing. I can say all these things. You should be able to do the same thing.
What have Hamas been right about?
Resisting because they're the occupied territory. If they had just attacked,
They were given billions of dollars in 2005
Okay.
when they took charge of the.
have they got right to
Hang on.
By the way, this is nothing to do with the conversation. Like whether Hamas is like these rich billionaires that is not helping their country is irrelevant to the point of whether or not they have the right to defend their people when they're attacked. Right? It doesn't matter whether they're corrupt politicians or not. Any politician of any country or any leaders of any country have the right to defend their people when they're being attacked. Right? And that's the question being asked. Do you think that Hamas have the right to defend Palestinians when they were attacked before October 7, when like hundreds of thousands of the houses were demolished, thousands of people were kidnapped or quote unquote arrested, do they have the right to retaliate on that? Of course they do. This doesn't justify the war crimes that happened on October 7, but you have to admit at the least that Hamas have the legal right to fight back against Israel. Israeli soldiers at the least.
Against military.
When they took charge of the Palestinian people and had power from 2005, they got billions of dollars. And what they did with that money was spend it on tunnels.
Okay.
Again, this is a red herring, has nothing to do with the topic. Where's that fish? There it is. Red herring. I'm here to distract you. Like, this is all they do. Like, all they do is say throw red herrings.
They built around civilians,
Sure, so what?
so that they could then launch a horrendous terror attack.
Okay.
And they knew when Israel
You're
came after
talking about a terror
them.
attack.
Hang on,
You're
when Israel then came after them after October the 7th, they knew because they'd embedded themselves in the tunnels
But
of civilians,
you're flogging
that a
the
lot of Palestinians would get slaughtered in the process.
My question
That's exactly what's
my
happening.
question to you, does Palestine have a right to defend itself? Does Hamas have a right to defend itself exclusively against military?
Everybody has the right to defend themselves.
So Hamas can do that against military.
What they did not show was self-defense. It was a terror attack.
Hold on.
That's saying
I'm
Al-Qaeda had the right to defend
that's not
themselves.
Yeah, he's constantly conflating between war crime and like legitimate defense. Like, part of October 7 was legitimate defense, and this is something they don't want to admit, because if they admit, then October 7 doesn't look as horrifying, right? Because the thing is that part of October 7, where they did attack IDF, that was legitimate retaliation because they're at war. That's what happens in war. You kill the soldiers of other parties. Now, of course, civilians have died, but they refuse to acknowledge that sometimes in war, like when it comes to Israel, they're all okay to say that, oh, civilians die in war, etc., etc. But when it comes to Hamas, all of a sudden that cannot happen. Like where you have a situation where anyone could be carrying weapons, and and you cannot have a few civilians killed, where the shooting is taking place, right? So this is such an intellectual dishonesty on Pierce's part.
We both agreed that civilian death is something we should book in there. Yeah? We're talking about areas of agreement. You just said it yourself. I'm saying now, do you agree that Hamas has the right, because they're an occupied territory, Gaza is an occupied territory, according to the UK, by the way. They're an occupied territory because of effective military control. According to the UK,
They ended their occupation in 2005.
No, hold on.
They ended the
You're meant to be
occupation in
intelligent. You're meant to
2005.
know this fact. According to the UK government, according to the US government, and you can check it up online, and according to the UN, all three organizations, Gaza is an occupied territory because there is no, because they have control of the borders, they have control of the
Well, I
population.
said this many times.
So sure, you agree with it. You said
Let me
recently.
give you the facts. Let me give you the facts. Let me give you the facts, please. Can I give you the facts?
Yes, you can respond.
Let me give you the facts. Okay, the facts are in 2005. I was there in Israel when
Okay, here he's going to say something very dumb. Let's pause this.
the Israeli government
sure you're not emphasizing-
uprooted every single civilian,
Let me just
every
say-
single dead person who was buried there. Not a single soldier, not a single policeman was in Gaza. Gaza could have become the most beautiful spot on the Mediterranean, Singapore and the Mediterranean. Then Hamas engaged in a military.
Here for a minute. This is another thing they say. Oh, Hamas could have turned Gaza into Singapore, right? Hamas could have turned Gaza into Singapore. Really, how are they going to do that when you blocked off their food, water, electricity? Like, you control everything. So the fact that they couldn't do that is on you. It's not on Hamas, because you keep blocking them. You keep, banning them. You keep try to assassinate Hamas leadership. How are they going to turn it into Singapore when you keep killing them, right? When they do like March for Peace, nearly 300 innocent people were killed. For what? For doing protest? So again, like when they're blaming like Hamas and not looking at the fact that they're continuously blocking any growth of Palestinian civilization from growing, like they're not allowing them to flourish, because in order for it to have a healthy economy or healthy country, you need to have good relation with your neighbors, and Israel is refusing to be that neighbor. Israel is more interested in bombing and killing Palestinians. They don't talk with like Hamas leadership or try to make peace.
Coup in which they murdered members of the Palestinian Authority, took over Gaza, and started sending rockets into Israel. It was only then that Israel began to control the borders and make sure that tunnels couldn't be built. They failed in that respect, that weapons couldn't be brought in. Gaza was not an occupied territory. It was a free territory between 2005 and the time that Hamas took over. And so
it's occupied now.
all
It's
lies
occupied now.
Hamas
It's
were
occupied now.
He's talking about Gaza. First of all, this is a straw man, because Brother Hijab was not talking about Gaza. He's talking about West Bank, occupied territory. Also, this is false. Gaza is occupied territory according to most human rights organization. For example, I think Beth Salam. Yeah. I think ICJ did say. Yeah. Hold on, I got it. This is what I was looking for. Let me share this. Here we go. The ICJ declared Israel occupation of Palestinian territories encompassing West Bank, including East Jerusalem and Gaza Strip, as unlawful under international law, and emphasized that Israel's actions amount to annexation. So the ICJ, which is the highest court in the world, international court, they have declared that Gaza is indeed unlawful. And the occupation of Gaza is unlawful. Gaza Strip is unlawful. So he's lying. He's straight up lying. He's straight up lying. So yeah, when he says that, oh, you know, Gaza is not occupied, that's a lie. According to ICJ, they're clearly occupied, as I showed.
Creating
Is
a territory
Gaza an
in which
occupied territory right now, or is it
Hamas
not?
imprisoned.
He's answering my
It's
question.
not an occupied territory.
It's not. Okay. Is it an occupied territory according to the UN, the UK, and the US? Yes or no? It's a factual statement.
Not the U.S. The U.S. doesn't
No,
agree
it
with
doesn't.
that. The
That's why you have.
According to ICJ, yes, it's occupied. Even Gaza is occupied, because when you block someone's and control someone's water, food, and other resources, you're occupying them. Occupation doesn't simply mean you literally have armies there to patrol their every move. Occupation can also mean you control everything surrounding them.
You have to plagiarize books in order to make your case from John Peters.
Wait, what are you saying again? Say it again.
You have to plagiarize books because you're clearly not
Okay,
issue.
now we have another count.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
According to you,
Now we have
Gaza,
another
Gaza,
count.
Gaza,
We have another count in the lawsuit against you. You've accused me of plagiarism, even though Harvard University conducted a thorough and complete study, totally vindicated me, and blamed it on Finkelstein, who then lost tenure for making a full charge against me of plagiarism. But you're repeating that charge. Count two.
No problem. That's according to Norman
plagiarized
Finkelstein,
my own
who
book.
debated you on Democracy Now. You plagiarized that book and he showed you evidence in that debate. That's one thing. The second thing is,
The
it's an
Harvard University
it's an
did a thorough
occupied-
study, found out that Finkelstein
matter.
had made
Let him
charges.
respond. You've got
As
to
a
make these
result,
allegations.
he
Now you can
lost his
respond.
position as a professor. But you've accused me of plagiarism. Count two in the
Sure,
civil
I'm ready. I'm ready.
place that I will be filing against you.
I know defamation
I'm
laws in
gonna
this country.
sue you.
You know, yes, I do.
I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you, just like I sued the innocent victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
I've
You
had
clearly done.
four cases. And moreover, and I've been the person taking the elephant in the court, including your good friend Douglas Murray, which I've got 2 court cases against him. But what I'll tell you is that you probably know nothing about defamation law, just like you have no information, no knowledge, no peer-reviewed journal on international law. You're completely dumb on these issues. Because
I've
if you
written
say to me,
55 books. I've written 55 books, many of them prize-winning books.
You're not
I've gotten all kinds of
Are you
awards,
international law?
and
Are
I
you
have won
studying
defamation
international law?
cases,
Are you
and I'm an
studying
authority on the
international
First
law?
Amendment.
By the way, he's just lying. Here, ICJ court case clearly declared Gaza to be an occupation, not just Gaza, northern Palestine or West Bank. Both West Bank and Gaza are under illegal occupation. So he's just straight up lying. As I showed you guys just before, from the ICJ, from the article, that's actually a declaration from United Nations. This article on United Nations, and I'll put the link in the comment section. You can check it out yourself. Which is that he's just lying. He's lying. Here, let me show you guys again. Share this. Here. The ICJ declares Israel occupation of Palestinian territories encompassing the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and Gaza Strip, is unlawful under international law. Unlawful. So what's he talking about? He's just straight up lying. But anyway, let's continue.
Let me ask you this. One of the many problems I have with what Israel's been doing in terms of the scale of what it's been doing, but also what has been going on the West Bank with the increased settlements, very aggressive expansion settlements, I think it's completely outrageous.
I agree.
But once
I
you said
agree.
before,
I'm opposed to
yeah,
Israel's-
but-
I'm
agreed on
opposed to Israel's policies on the West Bank. I think Israel should continue a military occupation of the West Bank, just like I thought it should have continued a military occupation of
Agree.
Gaza. But I'm opposed and have been opposed to civilian settlements since
heard what I said, right?
1967. And I'd like to see them ended in a process that leads to a two-state solution. By the way, I'm curious whether my fellow guest here supports
No, I
the right
agree.
of Israel
Fantastic.
to
You're doing
exist
a two-state
as the
solution.
nation state of the Jewish people alongside a Palestinian state. Do you agree that Israel has the right to exist as the nation state of the Jewish people? Yes or no?
I think it's a viable option. In 2002, not just Hamas agreed to this, by the way, in what's called the Arab Initiative. The Arab
No, they
Convention.
didn't.
Hold on, you've
No,
asked
they
me a question. You've asked me a question. You can check me. You can fact check me. In 2002, there was something called the Arab Convention, and in fact, Iran itself was part of it, even though it's not an Arab country, but it was part of the 2002 Arab Convention. And they both said, so long as Israel does not occupy Gaza, it does not occupy the Golan Heights, and it does not occupy the West Bank, which you just
Yeah, that's the condition, right? This is the condition that's the condition of Hamas, which is that you stop occupying our lands, you allow right of return, and you return our prisoners, and we can have peace. It's not rocket science. It's very simple terms. And Israel refuses to admit to this, to the very simple demands.
advocated for. then there can be a two-state solution. Even Hamas, Hezbollah mentioned the same thing.
No, that's totally
Hezbollah
false.
mentioned this point.
That's totally false.
Hezbollah mentioned this point. Iran agreed with it. And members of the IOC agreed with it. Hold on. Members of the IOC.
Have they recently recognized Israel's right to exist? Has Iran recognized Israel's right to exist now? I'm not talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking about now. Does Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran recognize Israel's right to exist as a nation state of the Jewish people?
Let me ask you the other thing that I find really difficult, and Thomas Friedman wrote a very good column for the New York Times today, which I read just before we started this, basically saying that Israel seems to have no plan for what happens after this. In fact, the UAE, with normalized relations with Israel, has already offered to go into Gaza at the end of this war, in Gaza, and to help build a coalition to rebuild Gaza and get the people back on track. But Netanyahu...
Brother on the list says, Alan Dershowitz logic. I'm right here. The whole world is wrong.
who is refusing to countenance that. He's refusing to countenance the idea of a two-state solution. You know, I've said for a while, I think Netanyahu is becoming a massive problem in this. And it's also hard, as Thomas Friedman said, to avoid the conclusion that Netanyahu is acting in self-interest, because the more he's been attacking Hezbollah, the more popular he's grown. Secondly, he has these corruption charges awaiting him the moment this is all over. There's no incentive, actually, for him right now to try and bring peace anywhere. And he doesn't really sound like a man who wants to bring peace anywhere.
He didn't accept it.
Alan, respond to that.
Why should he respond to that?
I would like to see a resolution of Gaza, much like the resolution of Nazi Germany after the Second World War, a Marshall Plan.
This person is so stupid. Like, really? Gaza and Nazi Germany are the same thing? Like, Gaza and Nazi Germany are the same thing? Like, are you, like, how moronic do you have to be to even make that comparison? Like, Nazi Germany was not put into concentration camp. They're the ones who were putting people into concentration camps. So no, Gaza and Nazi Germany is not the same thing. You moron. I'm sorry, I'm using insults, but I don't know how else to respond to this. First of all, this person is defending genocide. On top of it, he's being a moron while he's doing it. And this guy is supposed to be a Harvard lawyer. What an idiot.
An effort to rebuild it, an attempt to occupy. What happened in Germany was occupied by 4 countries: France, Russia, Britain, and the United States. I would like to see a rebuilding of Gaza. I think the people of Gaza are entitled to a Hamas-free government, perhaps even a democratic government. I would like to see that on the way.
Well, this is also against international law, because this is against a legal thing. It's called self-determination, where every group of people have the right to determine their own leadership, even if that means Hamas, right? Even if you have a situation where Hamas went on to election and won election, then you cannot force yourself to remove their government. This is against international law.
West Bank. I am a strong supporter of a two-state solution in which Israel can live in peace. That's all Israel has ever wanted since 1948, when it was attacked in a genocidal war. 1967, 1973. All Israel wants to do is live in peace. And if Israel can live in peace with a Palestinian neighbor that's peaceful, that would be my
What is wrong
dream.
with that? What is wrong with that as an ambition?
Well, he said all Israel wants to do is live in peace.
Yeah,
I think what Israel wants to do is have pieces of other people's land. And as he just agreed a second ago, and you didn't even challenge him on it, which I find quite incredulous actually, is that he said, I think that the West Bank should be military occupying Israel should be military occupying the West Bank. He says that.
Absolutely.
Now, occupation.
Of course, as long as there's belligerency, there should be an occupation.
Why are you interrupting me? I've let you speak for a very long time. Now you're interrupting me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me in this manner. What I'm saying to you is, according to international law, there cannot be occupation of one sovereign nation over another. It doesn't seem like you care about international law. What do you mean? Yeah,
wrong. No, you're just wrong.
Okay, just be
United
quiet for a
States
second.
occupied Japan.
Just be
United States
quiet.
occupied
Just be
Germany.
quiet.
Great Britain
Just be
occupied
quiet. Be
Germany.
quiet.
You can have a
Your
military
former friend
occupation
Epstein,
as long as there is belligerency that continues.
Epstein, be quiet.
So here he's again, like, he's committing a fallacy. He's saying that, he's committing the appealing to false authority fallacy, right? He's saying that, America occupied all these other countries, right? America occupied like South Korea, America occupied like Japan. So it's okay to occupy other lands and make sure that they, they can be a stable country, just like we want, right? That's because that's what we want. So we can brainwash them to believe that actually America is amazing and liberalism is amazing. So you can no longer be our enemy, right? The ultimate defeat is what he's referring to, right? But the thing is that just because America has done it doesn't mean it's right. I mean, America has done a lot of horrible things. That's not a justification to occupy other people's land. Like, occupying someone else's land is illegal. You cannot do that. That's against international law. Any kind of occupation, especially an occupation where innocent civilians are being killed by your party, because you're not allowed to kill civilians. That is illegal. It is illegal to simply occupy other people's land. It's also illegal to kill civilians.
For a second, pretend I'm Epstein.
And it's a crime against humanity to commit genocide. And they're doing all three.
Former friend, be quiet and listen to what I have to say. Yeah? Whether the United States of America did it or not is not an indication of the legality of something. Occupation
legal.
Occupation is by
Military occupation is legal while belligerency continues. Okay. That's the law.
Are you going to be quiet? I've let you...
What? He says that, military... Okay, so he's saying that according to the law, if you have military belligerents, then the military can stay. Okay, then leave West Bank. There's no military force there for you to stay there. First of all, this is completely ridiculous, because it doesn't matter whether whether their military presence there or not. The point is that this is a clear-cut case of genocide, and that is a crime against humanity. And if you're doing all these things, then you have to be held responsible. Also, what he's saying is not even accurate, because the thing is that if that was the case, that you can just simply go into another country and illegally occupying them, then what's wrong with what Hamas did on October 7? Yes, sir. They were also doing the same thing. But the problem here is that the reason you say that what Hamas did was wrong is because they killed civilians, right? And Israel is doing the same thing on a massive scale. So how are they different? By the way, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. We're gonna end this soon. I only have like a few minutes left. So yeah, as I was saying, uh, okay, so yeah, as I was saying, so basically he's arguing that it's completely legal in warfare, where you have this another country or another land that you occupied because of war, that you get to stay there because there is like this military force there, right? But if that's the case, then that also justifies what Hamas did on October 7, because again, you have a war, and Hamas simply went inside their territory because it's a war, and they killed some of their military. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, right? Then what's wrong with what Hamas did? They're completely legitimate. Now, of course, this is not how warfare works, right? Because what Brother Hijab is referring to is basically illegal settlements, where you have civilians that are being settled there, and you have them destroying their homes and taking over their homes and their territory, which is clearly illegal. You cannot stay there permanently. That's against the law. And you also cannot kill their civilians and displace them. All of this is against the law. Otherwise, what Hamas did, there's nothing wrong with that.
You speak for about 3 or 4 minutes uninterrupted. He asks you 2 questions, and I stay quiet. Why are you okay? I'm saying that military occupation of one sovereign nation over another is not something that international law accepts, because it contravenes the
False. False. You're false.
So give me the evidence to the contrary. Give me I'm waiting for it.
It's clear that every country that has had a war has occupied the losing country until belligerency is over. Once belligerency is over, as it was in Germany and Japan, 2 or 3 years after the war, the occupation ended.
So why
That's
is that,
what
if that's
happens.
what you're saying
Military
before,
occupation is.
So I think this is the argument he's making, right? So basically, he's saying that in Germany and Japan, we occupied them until the military belligerency ended, right? Again, this argument doesn't hold, because if you're saying that, then there's nothing wrong with what Hamas did. There's nothing wrong with what Hezbollah did by firing at Israel, inside Israel, or when they went inside Israel and attacked. Like, I think there was like a terrorist attack, not terrorist attack, or retaliation inside, where that happened inside Israel. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's completely justified. As a matter of fact, you could say 9/11 was justified with this logic, This is ridiculous. Obviously, this is not allowed. Like, you're not allowed to simply attack another nation because that's terrorism, or occupy their land. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with what Russia is doing with Ukraine, and there's nothing wrong with when Hamas went inside on October 7th.
It's permissible as long as there's a civilian occupation.
If what you're saying is true, why have the organs of the United Nations condemned the occupation of Israel? Why?
They have condemned the civilian aspects of the occupation. They have condemned the building of settlements, which I also condemn. I'm talking about a military occupation designed to keep peace.
Stop it, Mohammed, for goodness sake. It's pathetic.
Why? Why is it pathetic?
Attacking lawyers for defending people is so pathetic.
Being proud of it, yeah.
Of all the
Being proud
anti-armament attacks we do, it is the least effective and the most embarrassing.
You're defending too much.
I think every time is a disgusting human being.
So he's proud of defending him. Do you condemn him for that?
I just don't care. I'm talking about
Oh, you don't
Israel.
care now, but why is this
I'm
coming
talking
proud of
about
defending the
Israel and the Middle
Constitution.
East.
Okay, so let's go back to the point. He was just advocating occupying the West Bank, Israel occupying the West Bank. We got to the point where he was saying that's acceptable. I'm saying that if that's acceptable from an international law perspective, then you expect the ICC and the ICJ and these organs of the United Nations to agree with him on that assessment. They have not agreed with him on that assessment. Even the United
Exactly. Like, ICJ clear cut says that this is not allowed. This is illegal. Here, let me show the document again. Show it like 100 times. Here, the ICJ declares Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories encompassing the West Bank, including East Jerusalem and Gaza Strip, as unlawful under international law. Again, these are experts. These are not like idiots like, Dershowitz. These are actual experts. These are actual judges of the highest court in the world. They're saying this is illegal. And here you have this Zionist idiot that are saying, no, this is legal. Anyway, let's continue.
agree with him on that assessment. The national position on the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank is that it's illegal. It's effective military control. So you don't know what you are talking about. And if that was possible, if it's okay for one nation, a sovereign nation, to
Okay, so I think what he's referring to is basically illegally occupying basically civilians. Like, that aspect is basically illegal, right? Like, for example, if you go into another territory, as long as there are like militant in that territory, you can go there and fight there, right? I think that's what he's trying to argue. But the thing is, it becomes illegal when you try to like use force on the population. Like, you cannot kill the population, and you definitely cannot displace the population. These two aspects are illegal under international law. However, Israel is doing both on steroids. So clearly, in this case, Israel is doing illegal occupation. That's why all the international bodies are saying that they're doing illegal occupation. So his argument is a non sequitur. It doesn't follow, because even if, another thing is that even if you were to argue that they were to take out all the civilians from the from the West Bank, what he's saying, which is basically the Israeli settlement, illegal settlement, that where people have basically went there, settled there. Even if you take them out, it will still be illegal, because they're using force on the population, on the civilian population. They're imprisoning them. There are 3,000 Palestinians that are in prison without any charge. So this is clearly illegal. So this rubbish argument that, because it's a military conflict, therefore Israel has indefinite right to stay there, is false, because you're practicing illegal law on the population, and that's not allowed under international law.
to go ahead and occupy another one. That's what to say, Russia and Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine, the same thing. The same
So what you're
argument.
saying,
exactly.
your position is that when a country is attacked and it wins the war, it must leave the next day. No country has ever done that. You continue the military occupation until all belligerency ends.
This is again another straw man. No one is arguing that, but the problem is that you're not occupying it because there's a war. There's clearly not a war. The war's ended, and also according to Oslo Accord, they were supposed to leave both Gaza and West Strip, and they violated that law and decided to stay there. So first of all, they violated the Oslo Accords by staying there, and on top of it, they violated international law by destroying people's home and killing and imprisoning people, because you cannot use force on civilian population. When you do that, it becomes illegal. So it is an illegal occupation. So he's speaking rubbish.
Ends.
Many of the conventions that were put in place,
once all belligerency ends in the Gaza Strip, the occupation should end. There should not be civilian
So it's a
settlements. There
fallacy,
should be a
and this is-
military attempt to control
Are you gonna
belligerency. That's the law.
Yeah, it's a non sequitur.
position, and then you've
Well, he tried to
misquoted.
answer, but once again, you shouted over him. So
Do you
people
agree
can't hear the
with-
answer.
wait, do you agree with him?
Well, I agree with him or
Do you
not.
agree with him?
Let the man
Why are you
answer
running
your
away from this?
question.
I do agree with
You asked a question, you shout over the
It's
answer.
okay for one country to occupy another sovereign nation. It's okay.
Do you know what? It's okay. I've had
Yes or
enough.
no?
I'm done.
Oh, you give up.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Need a break. Need a cup of tea. Alan, thank you for your patience. I asked you,
My pleasure.
you tried
Thank you for being- thank you
despite
for being
extreme
fair.
provocation
Of course.
on a very personal and ill-informed way. You have managed to be civilized. Mohammed,
I'm sure
you're
you're
saying
your friend.
There's nothing civilized about Alan Dershowitz and defending genocide.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
I like
that.
Alan. I respect Alan.
I'm sure you do.
And you, Mohammed, let yourself down today.
I think you let yourself down.
I'm sure the people that follow you on
He's a monster.
cheering you on.
He's a monster.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's not.
No, he's not.
Okay, he defended a monster.
The only person who's behaved,
He defended a monster.
in a monstrous way in this debate
Okay, whatever.
is
That's your
you.
opinion. That's
Is
your
you.
opinion. You've given up this debate.
No, I've actually run out of time. We're
Continue
going to
the conversation, and
as you know,
we'll
you booked till 5 o'clock. It is 5:03.
I'll leave it
We've actually run out of time.
That's
But we'll also debate something that you've rarely spent much time on debating because you were far too busy scoring personal cheap little jibes, ill-informed
Whatever.
jibes.
You do. It's good for the goose. It's not propaganda. What's good for the goose? You can't handle it. You dish it out. You can't take it. You've got a weak chin.
I can take it.
You've got a heavy punch. You've got a weak jaw.
I always say when people get
Glass
personal
jaw.
and abusive
You
like
and
that,
him.
it's because they can't
You're
argue the
weak.
argument.
You're both weak.
They can't argue the argument.
Whatever.
People who can't win an argument, the normal way of debating,
You've
they
just
resort to
run
ad hominem attacks,
Okay,
personal
sure,
abuse.
sure.
That's what you've done.
I think you've given up on this debate. I think
And you let yourself down, Mohammed.
I think you have both given up
Let
because you
yourself
realise that what you were spewing was false. And
Yeah.
you're talking about the pager attack. You said about saying it was an act of military brilliance. I'm sure if it happened here in Sainsbury's, a little white boy was killed. You wouldn't say that, would you?
You know what?
You've also let
yeah,
down the
yeah,
Palestinian
yeah.
people. You've also let down the Palestinian
He has
people.
let down the
Oh,
Palestinian
sure, whatever.
people.
I think you both let yourself
Yeah, he says that he let down the Palestinian people, the guy who's trying to murder them.
down. I think you've both given up.
Okay.
And I think the standing 10 count has been done. I think the white towel has been thrown in.
Yeah.
And I think the people can judge what I've done.
Okay. You know what? On that, I think we can all agree. People can watch your performance in the last hour and they can judge accordingly. And let me tell you, Mohammed, they will. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming in. Alan, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that was the debate, discussion, whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, that's about it. So I think Brother Hijab absolutely destroyed these clowns. You know, I think a lot of non-Muslims would agree with that. I saw a lot of most non-Muslims agree with that as well, right? Because the thing is that everything he's saying is just either false or is just fallacious. They're using like just very bad logic that has no basis. Like he's saying, comparing like Gaza with like Nazi Germany and whatnot. It's so stupid, you know. But anyway, so yeah, with this, I guess I should end. It's almost been 3 hours. Thank you guys for being so patient. My throat is really numb now. I have to go. Inshallah, I'll see you guys next time in a few days. I have another video. The second part of my video on Apostate Prophet is going to come out the day after tomorrow, inshallah. So stay tuned for that. And I also have some other video ideas that I've been planning. There's this one video by Konstantin Kisin that he made to defend Israel. There's that one. Then there's other videos on Apostate Aladdin. There's a video I want to make on him. He made a video attacking. I think he made a video attacking Sheikh Asim Al Hakim. That was kind of funny. I want to respond to that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Brother Doctor says goodbye, brother, and goodbye, inshallah. Please pray for our brothers and sisters in Lebanon and in Gaza. And if you can send some help, please do, financial help. They are in great need. Brother Melissa, has anyone noticed how the Zionist bots stop entering the chat? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is about it. Again, thank you guys for joining. I'm gonna play the outro and then I'm gonna leave. So let me play the outro. Again, if you guys like the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you want to support me, you can support me by becoming a Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. And with that, I'm gonna end this video. Thank you guys for joining. Inshallah, see you guys next time, inshallah, in a few days, day after tomorrow, where my new video comes out. So I'll see you guys until then. Stay well and pray for our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Lebanon. And I'll see you guys next time. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. All right, bye. Jazakallah khair.